Good evening, everyone. It's 7:05. Welcome to the regular North Miami City Council regular meeting. Madam Clerk, roll call.
It is now 7:05 p.m. Councilman Charles,
Present.
Mayor Desume,
Here.
Councilman Galvin,
Here.
Councilwoman Timothy,
Here.
Vice Mayor Estimate Irvin.
Present.
Mayor, you have a quorum to proceed.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. And now let's have the Pledge of Allegiance by our number one chief in the world, who is his last meeting. And we're going to do a big party. The best chief, again, in North Miami in the world, Larry Jariga from the North Miami Police Department, followed by the invocation by Pastor Geraldine Whitaker of the New Way Holiness Outreach Ministry.
Good evening. Please place your right hand over your heart. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let us pray. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for this meeting tonight, for every member of North Miami City Council. As they continue to move forward in 2023 in unity, bless them, I pray, with divine wisdom and knowledge from above to carry out the agenda. Let there be no division among them, but grant them the tenacity to work together for the good of the cause. Let nothing be done in strife or vainglory, but all will be done in unity. Let every presenter, be respectful of each other. Help the council to engage in meaningful discussion that will allow us to grow closer as a group and nurture the bonds of the community. Fill us with your grace, Lord God, as decisions are made. Father, continue to remind us that all that's done this night, all that will be accomplished, is for the pursuit of good in North Miami, for the service of humanity. This I ask in your name, Father, in Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Thank you, Pastor Whitaker. Thank you. Madam Manager, any addition, deletion, amendment, or deferral to the agenda?
No additions.
Mr. Attorney, is the agenda set?
Yes, Mayor, the agenda is set. You may proceed.
Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, we got a couple of special presentation. First, we have a special presentation by Vice Mayor Estimate Irving, followed by the North Miami Building Department presentation by the City Manager. And then we have a special proclamation by our outgoing chief for 29 years of service. And then we have a special presentation by Councilwoman Linda Julian from the wonderful city of North Miami and Miami Gardens, of course. And then we're going to have our two quarterly reports by the Finance and the Budget Department. Ladies and gentlemen, let's go. No, I think Anisha, you want to do a photo with? Yeah, she's skipping that. But you want me to take it? Okay, sure.
Okay. I'll call Mark up from the Building Department. Margene. So many of you don't know, but Flood Week is a very important week. And there's a lot of work that goes into what we do in the building department to ensure that we can maintain our CRS rating, which is our community rating system. The city has actually been a part of the community rating system since, I believe, 1994. And we've actually been able to get a level 6, which actually helps our residents. They receive a 20% discount. On top of that, discount for savings. And on top of that, they actually, we actually provide them with a lot of information on how to protect their properties. So let me read the proclamation. Proclamation, the City of North Miami, Florida is pleased to issue this proclamation in honor of 2023 Flood Week. Whereas the City of North Miami has experienced severe weather in the past, the City of North Miami is a voluntary participant in the National Flood Insurance Program that provides residents with the opportunity to protect themselves against flood loss through the purchase of flood insurance at reduced insurance premium rates, as well as setting higher regulatory standards to reduce the flood risk and potential flood damage to their properties. And whereas the reduction of loss of life and property damage can be achieved with appropriate flood preparedness, control, and mitigation measures are taken before a flood. And whereas public education and awareness of potential weather hazards and methods of protection are critical to the health, safety, and welfare of the residents. The Florida Floodplain Managers Association have declared this week, March 6, 2023, as Flood Awareness Week to promote awareness and increase knowledge of flood risks, the availability of flood insurance, flood protection methods, and to prepare for emergencies. Our office is actually going to be doing additional outreach efforts to make sure that we could continue to provide information about floods. Mark?
Thank you, everyone. Mark, Mayor Jean, Building Director. So thank you, Madam Manager. Thank you, Council, for this proclamation.
Absolutely. This is yours. All right. Yeah.
Okay, and now it's indeed my pleasure, distinct pleasure. Is the chief here? Please come forward. I know he was here, yes. Woo. Fan club. Are you sure? Thank you. This is a proclamation from the City of North Miami is pleased to issue the proclamation in honor of Police Chief Larry Jariga. And it's a couple of whereas. Whereas Larry Jariga began his career with the City of North Miami in 1987. Oh, in the Parks and Recreation Department, where all things began. And whereas, having been inspired by his father, a 30-year veteran of the North Miami Police Department, Chief Jariga attended Police Academy in 1993 and joined the North Miami Police Department in 1994. And whereas, committed to serving the community, Chief Jariga worked his way up the rank from a police patrol officer, an investigator, a member of the squad team, sergeant, major, and then assistant chief, and then eventually become chief in 2017. And whereas during his tenure as chief, the North Miami Police Department earned hits and credited in stature from the Commission for the Florida Law Enforcement Accreditation after intensive review of the department's enhanced policies, procedures that reflect the enforcement highest standards. And whereas through Chief Jariga's ongoing efforts in providing members of the police department with tools necessary to stay healthy, he has implemented many programs which I could attest to as mental health wellness visits, mandatory wellness visits, weekly community rides, just to name a few. And whereas Chief Tariga regularly visits local schools, organize field trips, events, provide unique opportunities in local children's to experience, he initiated the Police, Cops, and Kids Fishing Day and Let's Let It Snow event. And now, therefore, in consideration of the foregoing in the city of North Miami and on behalf of the city council and the entire residents of the city of North Miami, I do hereby proclaim Tuesday, February 28th to be Larry Jariga Day in the city of North Miami.
I'm sweating. This is more nerve-wracking than your budget hearings, I'm telling you. Oh my gosh. Well, thank you very much, Mayor, Council. Thank you all very much. Well, first, I want to thank the city overall, the city of North Miami, for giving me an opportunity to do the job I love for so many years. It's an absolute honor and pleasure to work with this community, with everybody that works in the building, throughout the city, especially those men and women back there in uniform. I want to thank our elected officials for your support, not only your verbal support, but showing up at all our events, being there when we're helping the children, being at our accreditation, being there when things aren't the greatest in the world for our police department, to show your support again for our men and women. I thank you all. I want to thank the other departments. Many of the directors are in the back. A lot of them I've known for many years. It's been great working together as a team, working together with the various managers, Larry Spring, Teresa Theralis, Arthur Sori for a period of time, and now Anisha Daniel. Thank you, ma'am. And then I also want to thank all the residents. We have some from the east side here, the Blinn, some from the west side, the McDonald's, some from all around our wonderful community. And it's so amazing that we've been able to develop great partnerships, great relationships, but most important to me, the great friendships. And I thank you all the residents who've welcomed me and accepted me and partnered with me, and again, all the men and women of our police department. And all the men and women back there that you see in uniform, who work 24 hours a day to make sure this community is safe, to make sure the children are taken care of, to make sure people who are struggling have food put on their table, children have Christmas gifts and holiday gifts. Those are things that you don't normally see police officers doing, but that's what all of them do. They're my family. I love them. Damn. When things are at their worst, and each one of them has heard me say this before, when things are at their worst, when we're dealing with a pandemic, when we're dealing with a hurricane, when we're dealing with a death in our family, something tragic happens, that's when they're all at their best, their absolute best. They're incredible peace officers, they're caring leaders, and most importantly, they're loving human beings and friends. And I couldn't do anything without all of them. So I thank you all. Thank you, Mayor.
Before we take the group picture, Chief, I just wanted to personally say thank you to you. And I know how much the police force means to you, but one thing I have to say publicly, I know the chief, the person as a chief, and you said something during your remark, you know, when we are at our best, the police department come at its best. You, someone who always shine, because there's not a time I could possibly think of in the last almost decade that I've called the chief that he doesn't answer, which is which is remarkable. And if he doesn't, he'll call right back. In terms of it's a connection that I have with the chief because I know his heart. I've seen what the chief have done, and I've said this, every profession, including politician, there's good and bad folks in terms of what we do in our public service, but he is a true public servant at heart because I've gone to certain situation and I've said some things to the chief. I said there are some situations in taking care of the residents that we'll probably go to our grave in terms of what I've seen this man do for our residents, and he doesn't really care who you are or the color or the creed of the person. I called the chief. The chief is there because if I can't get anyone, I said, oh God, what am I gonna do? Let me call Chief Jariga because I know it'll be fixed. So I don't think, and I've told Sally this, you're going too far. You will still be with us, Chief. We love you, and we wanna really, really say thank you for what you have done for this community and for us as a city. Thank you again. Thank you. Yes, the entire team of the police department. Wait, Jeff. Breathe. Come on. Gia. 1, 2, 3. One more. Thank you. Oh, Lord. I saw you over there. I'm gonna have to take them. I want to hit my hand with
Listen, anything for Chief Jariga, okay?
How do you turn it? This way? Or is it towards,
Well, we do proclamations like this.
they speaking?
When we do presentations, we turn it around.
This is the chief thing. That's the chief. And Chief, just hold on for 1 second as we called up the Honorable Councilwoman Linda Julian from the great city of Miami Gardens.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone.
My name is Linda Julian, and I have the honor and pleasure of serving as the city council member in the great city of Miami Gardens. However, I can never forget that my humble beginnings started right here in the city of North Miami. And so when I got word that my very good friend, Larry Jariga, was retiring, I found it not robbery to be here this evening. You know, in life, when you find good people, you have to hold on to them. I, too, come from a family of law enforcement, ranging from City of Miami to BSO. But I have a very special law enforcement person in my family that is very near and dear to my heart, my little brother, Emmanuel Genti. Just to give you some context, when my brother was about 10 or 11 years old, he joined the Police Explorer program here. It is in him joining that program, I was in high school transitioning to college, that I met then Officer, Sergeant, Captain Larry Jariga, and all of the other great men and women who wear the uniform. Detective Ruggiero, Agent Colon, and I'm taking it way back. James Mesidor, James Stewart, Willie Walden, all of these people played a pivotal role in who my brother is today, and I can't forget that. So is Chief still up here? Okay. So today, Chief, I want to say to you, thank you for being one of the village members who has been instrumental in helping Sergeant Emmanuel Genti become the person who he is today. My family and I are forever indebted to you for helping rewrite Emmanuel's story. When Emmanuel wasn't on his best behavior, you stood up and said, we're not always looking for the best kids. We're not looking for the perfect kids. We're not looking for the kids with straight A's. We're looking for kids just like this. We don't want to leave them to the streets, and this is why we have the Police Explorer program. So today, this evening, I would like to present you with this keepsake, this beautiful plaque, and it reads, the Office of Councilwoman Linda Julian honors Chief Larry Jariga in appreciation for his instrumental leadership and mentorship in the life of Sergeant Emmanuel Genti and other officers, presented to you on this 28th day of February, 2023. I love you, Chief. I appreciate who you are. And I can say that I'm gonna miss you, but I'm not gonna miss you because I'm gonna see you at all the Dolphins games every Sunday, so. Let's get a picture. You the center, Chief. We're the center. Miami Gardens of the house. North Miami Gardens. North Miami Gardens, I like it.
And now we're gonna have Tracy Pollard for city events. No? Oh, no, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, Tracy, I'm sorry, we have Miguel. I mean, I thought you wasn't, I thought that was too little for you. I didn't know. We have the finance and then budget presentation. Anisha, I called him, he said, I thought he wasn't doing it. That's beneath me.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Miguel Augustin, Interim Assistant City Manager, Finance Director. I'll be presenting to you today the first quarter finance cash report. That's for the quarter ended December 31st, 2022. So the slide before you presents the cash balances comparing the December balances to the previous quarter, which was September 30th of 2022. It presents the balances in the Bank of America, Wells Fargo, City National, and in our investment balances as well. The main the main account, the daily investment account of the city, the balance at December 31st was 78,545. At September, it was 56,216,000. The difference is about 22 million. The main difference, I'll be getting into the details for the slides, but the difference was primarily the taxes that came in December for property taxes from the county. The other account, the utility account, that account changed only by 140,000, and that represents the difference that we received from one year to the next for new deposits in utility accounts, utility billing accounts. The flexible spending account, the AFLAC account, that only changed by 4,000. That's one of the flexible spending accounts that is, the balance is really determined by the claims that come into the account and the deposits that are made from the employee deductions who have that benefit. Same goes with the replacement benefit account. That didn't change very much. It's determined by the claims as well. The lockbox account at Wells Fargo, the balance was 28,000 compared to 71,000. But if you recall, that account is essentially a sweep account that collects the balances that are from utility payments. When people make their payments by mail, it goes into this account and it's swept into the main deposit account on a daily basis. So the balance is just a function of when the last sweep was done. The John Easton account is the workers' comp account that is used by our third-party workers' comp administrator. And again, that account is funded by the city, and when claims for workers' comp come in, they're paid out of that account. So the difference is just merely a timing of when claims were paid. So it's not really a function of any operations per se. Let's see, the City National account, City National Bank account is the landfill account. This is the remaining balance that is on the account used to clean up the Munisport site, the Biscayne Landing site. So remember, there was a landfill at that point. This account was a account managed by both ourselves and the county, used to remediate the property, remediate the land. So the balance, the difference, the change is just a matter of the interest that was earned from September 30th until December 31st. You can see that the interest is a lot more than last quarter because we were able to get a better interest rate on that account. The Wells Fargo account, that is the escrow account that is held with the school board. So those are the funds deposited by the city into that escrow account to fund the Cagney Park project. We haven't dipped into that source of funds as yet. Right now, we're just using the county bond proceeds to fund the initial stages of that project so far. And the investment accounts, we have 2 CD certificates of deposit at First Horizon. The balances are the same just because the interest, we chose to collect the interest as opposed to have it compound in the certificate of deposit. So we collect the interest as it comes in, and we've been taking advantage of the increasing interest rates by investing in shorter periods. So every 6 months we get it renewed so that we can take advantage of the increasing rates. Same with the Florida Prime account. That account has gone up as well. It was 6,800,022 in September, and it was 6,888,000 in December, and that's primarily because of the interest rates increasing as well. And the Truist or SunTrust CD, same thing. We get the interest in the city, so the balance remains the same. Okay, so now this is really just an overall discussion of the change in the main operating account. I don't know if we're going to go into all the details, but essentially it was a $22 million increase over the period, and like I said, it's primarily because of the property taxes that we received in December. So that always gives us a big spike in terms of the balances compared to the previous quarter. December's activity was an overall net $1.6 million outflow, and that's because we make the pension payment in October, sorry. We make the pension payments in October, so that takes a big amount out of the account. But then by November and December, we start getting the property tax money in, so it starts to increase at that point. This slide here just shows the balances comparing December of 22 compared to 21 and 20. As you can see, if you just focus on the main one, the daily investment account, the balance has increased steadily over the years, in large part to the funds that we've received from the American Rescue Funds, the American Rescue Plan, as well as some land sales we had over the years. So, and of course the results of operations. We have been doing a better job at budgeting for our expenses, maintaining our revenues after the pandemic as well. So there's been a steady climb, a steady increase in the overall cash balance in the main operating account. But we also have to be careful because that's primarily due to a lot of one-time monies as well. So we want to be cautious and not expect that these increases will be the same in the coming years just as a result, these huge increases from year to year just because of these one-time monies. So I think that's all I have. Any questions?
Thank you. I don't know if any other members have questions. I do have one. Go ahead, council member.
Thank you, Mayor. With interest rates, we have seen a tick in the past couple of months. Have we seen a tick in our interest yield on some of our accounts here?
Yes, we have. Yes, we have. So in the main operating account, we've also benefited from, not as much as I would like, but we have seen an increase from 0.25% to about 1%. We have an investment plan to take some of the excess funds that we are not using in operations and have those funds put into some higher yielding securities, some treasuries, and some of the other higher yielding investment accounts that are out there. So we're working with a consultant to get that portfolio set up. But in the meantime, we're working with the banks that we do have to try and get better yields as well.
Okay, thank you.
Councilman Galvin? No. Councilman Charles? Vice Mayor? I have a quick question for you in regards to the landfill, the 5.8 million. Is that investment that's just there, or is that allocated for?
Well, it's restricted strictly for the remediation of the land.
Of that land, or
Yes.
could we use it for any other, just?
No, only that purpose.
So what if that land is, doesn't need any more, or Solomia is, I'm just using an example.
That land was a previous landfill, and so that money is utilized for the remediation of that particular site.
What I'm saying, what if it's, let's just say it's done, we don't need, there's
Well-
leftover, yeah.
Well, there's also maintenance costs as well. So
Oh, God, you
there's
guys
always
will find an
ongoing-
answer for I'm trying to figure out how do we get, I'm trying to figure out how do we get the general fund dollars in terms of that. My other question, Miguel, in terms of the banks, Wells Fargo versus City National, or do we, I guess, shop or question what's better interest, or where do we get, or do we talk to the banks in terms of what's best for us?
yes, as a matter of fact, we do. We do talk with our relationship managers at the various banks. to try to get better yields, get a better pricing for some of the services that we use them for. So it's an ongoing, constant thing. As interest rates change, I do reach out to the banks to make sure that we get the better yields as well, because I mean they benefit from the higher yields as well. So we want to be able to have that benefit for the city as well.
Okay. Thank you. And now we're gonna have the presentation from our budget director. Where's my phone?
Good evening. Vivian Cao, Budget Director for the city. We're going to be reviewing the city's fiscal year 22-23 first quarter report that covers the period from October 1st, 2022 through December 31st, 2022. For the general fund, the revenues for the first quarter, the revenue collections for the period were at 38%, mainly due to property taxes revenue received during the period since taxpayers take advantage of the discount offered by paying earlier. Charges for services and other taxes such as local option gas, franchise, communication service, and waste collection tax are normally received 1 to 2 months behind after the due date. For the general fund expenses by departments, the police department expenses include a one-time pension cost that was fully paid during the first quarter for the year. Non-departmental reflects a P3 consultant payment incurred during this period, as well as ARPA reimbursements not posted until the second quarter. For our general fund expenses by categories, the personal services include a one-time employee pension expense fully charged during the first quarter. Capital expenses are lower than budget due to the capital projects being in the design phases and not spending any money. Grant expenses reflect most grant allocations incurred during this period, and the reserves reflect the ARPA reimbursement that will be recognized during the second quarter. For our enterprise funds, this includes water and sewer, water, fire flow demand, and stormwater revenues, which are recognized when the customers pay their bills. Under the special revenue funds, which includes the federal housing grants that are usually reimbursed after the expenses have been incurred and are reflected on this line. Our transportation funds, these revenues are received normally 2 months behind. For our internal services fund, this includes risk management that receive revenues from departments to cover the cost of premiums and administrative charges for claims. Fleet management budget includes last year's fund balance to cover the cost of vehicle and maintenance. And under the debt service fund includes the pension loan repayment that is allocated to departments, and the expenses will be posted by the end of the year. Are there any questions regarding the actual expenditures for the first quarter?
Members, any questions?
Are we where we're supposed to be at this time? Are there any concerns?
Not at this point.
Okay, that's all. Thanks.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Thank you, Ms. Cowell. Ms. Pollock, you ready? Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, staff, North Miami neighbors, and guests. My name is Tracy Pollock, and I'm presenting the announcements on behalf of the City of North Miami. The following are upcoming city events and other announcements. Rental assistance is available for North Miami residents if you or a loved one is facing homelessness or fleeing domestic or dating violence, sexual assault, stalking, or human trafficking and need rental assistance. Visit northmiamifl.gov for details. Flood Awareness Week starts on Monday, March 6th, and continues through Saturday, March 11th. The City of North Miami will post daily tips and resources on its social media platforms and its website. Be sure to follow the city on Facebook and Instagram at North Miami FL and on Twitter at Nomi News. North Miami Public Library is hosting Storytelling Time every first and Thursday and third Wednesday of the month at 6:30 p.m. For details, call the library at 305-891-5535. Be a part of the journey to a new downtown North Miami by sharing your thoughts at an interactive community chat tomorrow, March 1st, RSVP at downtownnomiconnects.com. Calling all runners, joggers, and walkers. Vice Mayor Mary Estime Irving is hosting Run Nomi Run, a 5K walk and run on Saturday, March 4th from 7 a.m. to 11 a.m. For more information and to sign up, visit runsignup.com. The Family Gardening Program will take place every first Saturday at 11:30 a.m. at North Miami Public Library. To register, call the library at 305-891-5535. MOCA will celebrate Women's History Month with a series of events. On Saturday, March 4th, 2023, from 2 to 4 p.m., attend a workshop about color and patterns inspired by British artist Bridget Riley. Then on Sunday, March 5th, from 10:30 a.m. to 11:30 a.m., join MOCA for a reading of Fantastically Great Women Who Changed the World. After the reading, participants will use taping techniques and paint to create their own colorful geometric masterpieces. To continue the celebration of Women's History Month, join the Commission for Women in collaboration with Vice Mayor Mary Estime Irving for a Nomi Tea Party on Monday, March 13th at the Scott Galvin Community Center beginning 6:30 p.m. Then on Tuesday, March 14th, attend a Women's History Month event at City Hall, second floor lobby at 6 p.m. For details on these and other events, visit northmiamifl.gov/calendar. To stay up to date with Nomi news and events, log on to North Miami's website at northmiamifl.gov. Click on Connect with Nomi on the homepage to sign up for the city's newsletters. Also follow us on Facebook and Instagram at North Miami FL and on Twitter at Nomi News. This concludes tonight's announcements.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. Thank you. I do have a question for Vivian. I apologize, Madam Manager. It's a quick question regarding the last presentation on the budget. On the reserve, I'll wait. That's nice. Hi, I'm sorry, Ms. Carroll. In regards to the general fund report, the reserve, I know there's a note about it include the opera reimbursement that will be recognized in the next report, but the 314%, explain that a little bit.
During the budget process, we allocated expenses within the general fund to be reimbursed by the ARPA. We incurred the expenses during the first quarter, and there is a reimbursement that we processed in January to reduce the expenses from the general fund. The ARPA money that we receive is in a fund, is in the Fund 121, which is not within the general fund. So when we prepare the report for the next quarter, you're gonna notice that amount will be included. The reimbursement was submitted to, the journal entry was submitted to finance mid-January. So will be reflected for the March 31st.
I see. So the 300%, that does not mean, okay.
Yeah,
Oh, that was my question. Thank you so much.
no problem.
Thank you.
Anything else?
No, ma'am, that's it. Thank you so much. And now consent agenda, Madam Clerk?
Unless a member of the City Council wishes to remove a specific item from this portion of the agenda, tabs A through D constitute the consent agenda. These resolutions and items are self-explanatory and are not expected to require additional review or discussion. These items will be recorded as individually numbered resolutions adopted unanimously by the following motion: that the consent agenda comprised of tabs A through D be adopted.
May I get a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
I have a motion made by Councilman Galvin to approve the consent agenda. The motion was seconded by Mayor Desomé. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries with a 5-0 vote.
It was actually seconded by Vice Mayor Estimé Irvin.
Okay. Well, thank you. Tab E, a proposed resolution of the mayor and city council of the city of North Miami, Florida, adopting and appropriating funds in the amount of $356,000 and 0 cents to be funded in the amount of $341,000 and 0 cents from the Law Enforcement Trust Fund and $15,000 and 0 cents from the Federal Equitable Sharing Fund, Justice, and providing for the appropriation and expenditure of those items as set forth in Exhibit A, providing for an effective date and all other purposes. Tab E.
Thank you. Tab E, public hearing is open on tab E. Seeing none, public hearing is closed on tab E.
So moved.
Second. And this is something.
I have a motion.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
I have a motion made by Vice Mayor Estimé Irvin to approve the item at tab E. The motion was seconded by Mayor Desomé. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries with a 5-0 vote.
Tab F.
Tab F, a proposed resolution of the mayor and city council of the city of North Miami, Florida, authorizing and approving the execution of an employment agreement with the city manager in substantially the attached form, providing for an effective date and all other purposes. Tab F.
Thank you, Jennifer.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor and City Council. At your last council meeting, February 14th, you selected and appointed your next city manager, Rasha Camo. What you have before you is the proposed agreement that was negotiated with outside counsel for the city of North Miami. Our outside counsel is here and available if you have any questions on this item.
It's Mr. Brock. Hi.
Good evening, Council. I'm standing in for Brett Schneider. My name is Lindsay Maslon from Weiss Serota.
Okay. And Ms. Camo, how you doing? Good evening. Member of the council, well, let's open it up for public hearing. Any public hearing is closed on the item.
Move approval.
Second.
Okay. Madam Clerk.
I have a motion made by Councilman Galvin to approve the item at tab F. The motion was seconded by Councilman Charles. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries with a 5-0 vote.
Thank you so much.
Tab G.
Tab G, a proposed resolution of the mayor and city council of the city of North Miami, Florida, establishing performance evaluation standards for the charter officer positions of city manager and city attorney, providing for an effective date and all other purposes. Tab G.
Moving fast tonight. Councilmember Timothy, this is your item. What is the intent, please? You have the floor.
Thank you. So after attending National League of Cities last year, I began working with the administration after attending the city managers panel when they talked about selecting a city manager, evaluating your city manager. And I realized that we didn't have a performance evaluation set forth for our city manager or our city attorney. And I know we normally do it for staff. Every year you're evaluated based off, strategic plans or our retreat or, goals and objectives that we set forth here by the City Council. So we utilized a sample from the Florida City and County Association. They put together pretty much an evaluation process. If we want to change our benchmarks, we can. This was a sample that I thought was solid. It also includes salary increases for them as well, kind of like we do for employees. After a successful evaluation, you get a 5% increase. So definitely wanted to make sure that that was in there for our city manager and our city attorney. And that is essentially the item, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you so much. The item is now open for public hearing. Seeing none, public hearing is closed on the item. In terms of the item, I know, is Councilwoman Julie, I know Miami Gardens had similar item last of their meetings, and their attorney advised that it was something that they didn't bring up, that it needed to be a little bit polished in terms of it could have been done, I guess, administrative. I know it in the past. You said we never had a process. How was it done I did ask, because I find out about the item yesterday. I wasn't here. I think it's, Anisha, I think you and Jeff was not able to brief me last week because I was travel. So I find out about it yesterday, and I asked the question. So in the past, the mayor usually does the evaluation of the two, but I don't want it to be, because it's, where it's for a particular, it sounds like it's for a particular position. If it's a chartered position, I think there's some cleanup that needs to be done in the resolution. Or my recommendation would be, if we go in that route, if we're taking it away from how it used to be done with the mayor, I know other cities, they just do it in terms of sharing their comments on the dais and, call it off. I don't think that it's.
So I did ask staff how it was done in the past, because remember, we didn't have merit increases for staff in a very long time. So when they did bring the question up of, well, how would you do it for the city attorney and the city manager, the personnel director at that time just made the recommendation when it should have came to us as the city council. And so that's why I, did
the personnel or
the personnel director. It was
for the manager?
For the Joe Rogliera at the time.
Yeah, no, I know. So the personnel would make it for the, and I'm just trying to ask, so he would make it for the,
that was his recommendation to city administration at that time, because as we recall, we haven't had merit increases instituted in the city for so long. So when it was reinstituted, it was just a recommendation of the personnel director, but it never came before council as, is this the approach we would like to move forward with? And so after attending National League of Cities and looking at how other cities would perform performance evaluations for their chartered offices, i.e. the city manager and the city attorney, because they are hired essentially by us, we should be the one evaluating them every year.
I know, no, because there's two things. We do evaluate. It's the mayor that usually do it. So you want because I remember, based on my understanding and my briefing, Jeff and Teresa, they all got it in terms of the mayor usually do the evaluation, and then that would be, that usually be that. In other cities, in preparing this, did we do it? I just want to make sure that we did it with HR. I don't have, did HR review it in terms of, because when I was looking at it, I knew there was a couple of little things there that says county, some of them that say city, and it did not really talk about the city attorney. And my other question, what city locally here, what are they using? Because I did ask Ms. Daniel during our briefing today, I did ask you and the attorney, if you guys could just give us some of the cities, because I know last meeting from Miami Gardens, that this item had came up and then, but not as a it came up as a discussion. I think Reggie Leon had came up as a discussion, and then it was advised that maybe let's polish it in terms of that. So my advice is, I don't mind if we're gonna do it, but if we're gonna do it publicly, it's a public. I don't know if we do it, each one. If that's what you are suggesting.
What I'm suggesting is that each council member would have an opportunity to evaluate the city manager and the city attorney based off of, when we have our retreat is when we kind of set our priorities, or maybe everyone sets their priority individually, and then you would have the opportunity to evaluate the city manager at that time when their evaluation date comes up. I know I've pulled samples from other cities because this is the one that was recommended by the Florida City. And I know.
So what you have here is a sample pulled directly from the Florida City and County Managers Association.
No. I know that, and I talked to them. They were like, this is just a sample that they have.
Right.
They don't know what cities
It's
does.
a fictional city. It's
Huh?
So this sample came directly off their website with a fictional city on top.
Yeah.
It was provided to you as simply a sample. That's why the language isn't tailored to us yet. This isn't the only process or way to do it. We also reviewed one from the International City Managers Association. It wasn't as polished of a process.
Okay.
This was really, out of all the samples that I reviewed, the one that was the best fit for what the councilwoman was looking for, which is more of a collaborative effort.
Okay, I think that's the word that I don't want people to have the impression that we never had a process. We do. I think the councilwoman wanted to be
Kind of
for the
formalize,
council.
yeah.
Well, we had a formalized process, so it's just now you want to be included, which is fine. But I'm suggesting, I don't know if all the writings and all these different things. If we're gonna come in like how I see most cities do it locally here, they talk about it on the dais. They just bring it up on a day. They talk about, which I don't know if we want to do that route, but I don't know if people have time in terms of the 3-page reports of writing evaluation for the chartered officers in terms of that. I know the managers do it for the directors in terms of that. So my question would be, did we check it or vet it with our personnel director here, just to be in line in terms of?
This comes
so we
directly
didn't.
to you as an approved item, as a sample from the Florida City, County, and Managers Association, one that probably other cities are using, but.
Which are the cities? Do we have any
So I know
cities?
I can
Rivera
reach out
Beach
to
is
them.
using them. There's about 2 cities in Miami-Dade County that
Which
I've
do we
pulled.
know?
Yeah,
Which-
I know.
which are the
yeah.
cities?
So that have pulled, kind of used this same sample.
Which
This is
one?
more so, and I'm not trying to do this in a public forum. It's every normally when you get evaluated, it's on your anniversary day, and you can sit down with each, elected official and have your performance evaluation. And I know Ms. Camo did send her comments, thank you so much, where this is just a draft where we can change, we can add additional performance benchmarks if you guys would like to, but you can also tweak the language. Like I know there was it's still referred to county, but I know this is just the draft that we pulled from the association. So this is just more so a process where we can say that, hey, this is our formalized process as a council, how we would evaluate the city manager and the city attorney and provide merit increases for them as well.
Now, Mr. Mayor, if I may.
Yes, sir. Please.
Now, with the process that we have now, what is the main problem with the process that we have now, with the mayor doing the evaluation versus us coming with the evaluation? So, what is the problem with that?
So I think because an employee, when I think about how employees are evaluated, you're evaluated by your supervisor, your direct supervisor, and the city manager and the city attorney has 5 direct supervisors. So if a merit increase is to be granted, it should be granted by, the 5 supervisors. And in this language, it does says that, I think, what did we put? I think 3 members of the council has to, get a satisfactory I think it's like 50% or something like that, but it's just more so that it's not beholding to just one person, but it's the entire council that the city manager and the city attorney has to report to.
I have a follow-up, Mr. Mayor. Now, let's say if we have a city manager and then we're doing the evaluation as proposed in here tonight, and 3 of us decided that we gave that person a poor rating. So what do we do from there? Where
It
do
would
we
just
go?
remain in their personnel file. So when you get your evaluation, and then at that point, your merit increase is not merited. So for well, I'm gonna use me as an example. When I was an employee, every year, my evaluation would come to my supervisor. And if I don't get a satisfactory, I don't get my merit increase. But if I do, I get my merit increase. That's how employees are, are evaluated here in the city. And so with the city manager and the city attorney not having a direct supervisor, they are supervised by all of us. That would be for something for us to decide.
Now, so would it be better for us to probably add some of those little details into the system that we have now, and then we know that probably we have some input in as far as what the mayor is going to do, because I see it in a way it sounds nice, but could be a problem at the end, because let's say if I don't like Miguel.
Oh, yeah.
And
Well,
Miguel,
I don't either.
Miguel is
You're in trouble.
Miguel is the city manager, and then just come in front of me. Doesn't matter what Miguel is saying. Just the left side of my brain doesn't like Miguel. He's not gonna get a good rating from me. Or let's say I ask for a favor, and Miguel is there to say no. I don't like that no, because sometimes we don't deal with no. So, and then now Miguel is in front of me, and just all low ratings and everything, and get that from 2 other members, and where do we go with that? I think the process that we have in here, we probably need to sit together and see if we can add some values into it. But looking at what we have in here, and this item moves all that lengthy, going over all this, and then do all that work, and at the end, it's just basically a lot of paperwork there will be not really some immediate action into it.
So I'm trying to understand where you're going with this. Are you saying that you do not want to evaluate the city manager and the city attorney? Because if that's the case, I think you can opt out in doing the performance evaluation. It's not a requirement that we do so.
No,
Then that would-
that would defeat the purpose. Do you understand? That would defeat the purpose,
that's what
because
I'm saying. What you're saying is you want to keep it so that the mayor's the only one evaluating, or?
I'm not saying keeping up everything that I see in here. It's like we probably sit together and look at what the mayor is using.
No, we can
and then
add or remove.
add some values into it. Altogether, we add some
The only
values
thing
into
what we
it
can't
instead
do
of.
with that is that I'm thinking that could get into a sunshine issue. So
No,
it
that's
would,
what- I
yeah.
think he's saying during the workshop, during the workshop, he mentioned, right? Councilman Charles, that we talked about the process. I think it's already a political process. It's already we got to look at the professional who's there. So you have the manager, you have the attorney. It's already bad enough they're dealing with one person and who might be the mayor. So now they're dealing with, and this is their evaluation, this is their life, whatever the case is that they dealing with. I think we as public officials, that's why I suggest if we're gonna make it, we either evaluate, and I probably support what Councilman Charles is saying. Let's look at what we have and say, how do we strengthen what we have, work with them, because I don't think we want to make it an embarrassment.
No, and that is not what my intention here to do. If anything, it is to give them increases, to give them.
So may I suggest that we table it and maybe within kind of tighten up?
Yeah,
what
because my
wanna
thing is we
do?
can add or remove benchmark with
That's
the.
what he's saying. Let's look at what we have and then look at what we want to do. I think we all are in support of doing something, but and let's sit with them and see what works for
But if we can,
us.
but if we can give administration clear direction tonight as to whether we want the council as a body to evaluate individually, or do we still want to keep it the same way where the mayor is the only one evaluating?
And I think that's the question tonight.
I think that's the question
real
that, before we, table it,
I
I
was
think we
gonna
need to
say.
give, administration, and of course, I think Jennifer, more guidance as to what to include or what to remove, so that they know how to move forward in proceeding it before we bring it.
Wait,
I would
because
say
there's
to
two
have that
things.
in our conversation with them.
With them,
because
okay.
if we vote,
That's what I would
yeah.
recommend.
And again, in doing so, I would love to see the, probably a copy of the process that we have now as far as the evaluation
It's
done
just
by
the
the
mayor
mayor, do you understand?
evaluating.
So that at least we can balance it out.
Now, I think right we have now it's simple. Now, if you, council
So,
member, want to strengthen it, I think that's
If you
fine.
will
how we
allow
do
me,
it.
what I
Go ahead.
think I understand the spirit of this resolution or this policy is to allow all of us
To
to
have a
weigh
voice.
in. At the end of the day, the majority is going to overlook it. So I understood the example of what if I didn't like you and I put no. I mean, that's going
Yeah,
to be an
yeah.
outlier. I don't think everyone is going to behave in that
Well,
way.
it depends.
And well, unless there's a coup d'etat, but I don't know what to say. But what I'm saying is, I think the intent is that. So I think, like we've been talking, I think we should table it. Let's talk to our administrator and see what the majority sent. Do we want to do this as a majority, or do we just want it to be left at the mayor and then?
No, I know for me, it's not even about just a single person. It's more so about the collective body, because at the same time too, a city manager can be beholden to one person. If my merit increase is tied to one person and that merit increase is significant, 2010, whatever that number is, you're gonna be beholden to making one person,
Well,
I'm ju- that's all I'm
if
saying.
that's the money, I think that part we could, what Councilman Pierre was saying, that we could certainly give. I don't think one person should be deciding what anybody get. I think that's a financial thing that we all should be
merit-
doing.
Financial comes
Yeah,
with
that should
with the
evaluation.
merit, it comes with
Uh-huh.
the evaluation.
But to
But
get the merit,
don't
that
they-
comes with the
It
evaluation.
comes
Isn't that
with
part of their
the-
contract, though?
So
This is
current-
chartered employees,
So
though.
currently, the contracts for both city attorney and
Yeah.
city manager provide for them to get
Yes.
the same that the city staff gets. So if they get
Yeah.
a raise, then the city
We already
attorney and
have
the city
that.
manager get a raise. But it's not based off of performance
No, it's not.
benchmarks.
So are we making it that? Is that what we're doing?
So the way that employees get their merit is if you get a satisfactory from your
Correct.
supervisor. So the way that their contract is written right now, they automatically get a merit increase?
The way that, if they get it in the same way and manner as an employee.
So
So
if
from
it
what
went
I
from
understand,
the
Joe Roglieri's
evaluation.
established practice was that the same performance evaluation form that the employees get was completed by the mayor and processed for that normal cost of living and merit increase.
So the
So
merit
how long
increase
that's
was
been
done,
happening?
since we instituted raises, I want to say in 2015 or 16?
No. Let me ask a question, because I heard a name. How long we been having that process? Because I heard a name earlier today. I just want to make sure.
I will defer to city administration on how long back it goes. But I know that that was the established practice, at least since the 2016.
2016 when
time
Mayor-
period. I
Well,
don't-
somebody mentioned a former mayor, and that goes way back 2015. That's before I got here. Yeah, so I want to make sure if this is something like 20 years ago, is the system working? If it's broke, if it's not broken, if we need to strengthen it, I'm all for it. But if it's working, what is it that we're trying to accomplish? If we're trying to accomplish where people give their input, I could care less, but we have to be careful because we have professionals here. We have, if we want to talk about people's thing out in the public,
No,
that's
and
fine.
it's like I said, this is not something that is
I
done in
think
a
I like
public
right here.
forum.
Vice Mayor.
It's something that is done with the employee individually. So it's not a sit down, well, it's not on the dais. Your evaluation process is done.
That's one of most cities locally. When they do it where everybody is involved, it is public. That's what we saying, because I
Well,
think we have. I think
anyone's
the
personnel
listing-
record file is a public
Exactly,
record. Well,
and that's
anyone
the
can
other thing.
request
Yeah.
someone's personnel file. So I think the same way employees have to have, evaluations or write-ups in their file.
Yeah.
It's anyone can request it. So
Yeah, and then I think, yeah.
No, all I'm saying is that we're giving an opportunity for each council member to evaluate the one employee that we do have, charge over every year, and we're able to say, hey, it's an accountability factor. If we know that, if an employee knows that they're getting evaluated every year, like, hey, I had performance measures to meet and I meet them and I'm satisfactory. It's like getting your report card at the end of the year. You get excited to know that you got all A's.
So what we have now, the way we have the process now, you want it to be a little bit more,
Inclusive of everyone.
okay, meaning that you want us to be able to, I guess, all of us.
All of us be able to provide feedback, professional feedback.
I've never done that for 8 years, and I didn't have a problem with that. So you want it to be, okay. I think, yeah, go ahead.
A couple of quick questions. So we have an existing city manager contract and an existing city attorney contract.
yeah.
If we adopt this tonight, next week, whenever, do we have to go back and renegotiate those points in the contract?
No.
No,
Okay.
so what,
It's just
so what
evaluation.
this resolution does, it does adopt a process. Each one of you will individually complete and provide comments and feedback at some later date. And that item will be set for city council agenda. There will be a discussion amongst the five of you collaboratively on the
Publicly.
performance of your charter officer. And there's also a compensation provision that's included in here. So while the contract defaults to what the employees get, you also, under this, if this item were to pass, would have the ability
More?
to give more,
Oh,
an
no.
amount up to 10%.
Oh, no, I'm not supporting that. Okay, I didn't understand.
No, if you want to.
If you wanted to.
If, like, you can always change it.
I didn't know it was more.
But it
I
wouldn't
know.
require you to go back, because your contract already
Oh, you're right then. What do we
provides
have to
for
do?
them to get their annual COLA increases
doesn't
and merit
require.
increases the same as other
So
staff
that's
members at the city.
So here's my second question. I totally appreciate where you're coming from. I mean, it's an idea that's probably 20 years way overdue. I'm not asking for any answers. In fact, I think that the idea to continue this is probably a good one. But I would hate to see us turn the annual review process into a,
Public.
well, public we almost have to do, but I don't know how you make that public. I mean, we can't rate our city manager in private. It's still got to be a public document. But I would hate to set the city manager and city attorney up for this annual, are they going to get fired or not going to get fired? I mean, I could see
That's
where,
every day.
I could see where, for instance, I have some issue with the city manager that wouldn't warrant firing, but then if I give a thumbs down because of that and two other people give thumbs down for some other, are we firing on
Yeah,
that
what does
manager?
that
No, so there's a separate process within your charter for termination of the city manager. So you'd still have to go through the steps of that process. You also have the same provisions in place for your city attorney contractually. So you'd still have to go through the same mechanisms required by the charter as well as the contracts. So it would be separate and apart.
The only thing that I would probably want to change is bringing it to the dais. That wasn't my intention. My intention was only to say, hey, everyone has an opportunity to evaluate the city manager and city attorney. Hey, your merit increase is based on 3 and not 1. And then after a certain amount of years of service, definitely want to give you your kudos even there, because it's not often you find a city manager that lasts 5 years or 3 years. And I think Jeff is going on 7 years. You're probably the longest serving city attorney
Don't
we've
jinx
had.
them, don't jinx them.
Yeah.
So, and I say that to say, like, it's not to, if anything, this is to strengthen,
Yeah.
the council is not to.
I think Vice Mayor has a
Yeah.
good, I think maybe we table it and we do a workshop. I think I think now the more you talk, the more we get the spirit. I think we don't want the public thing. We hear the intent of it, but I think Vice Mayor does have a point. Let's talk
I'll
about
make
it.
motion to table this item.
Second.
I have a motion to table the item at tab G made by Vice Mayor Estimate Irvin, seconded by Councilman Charles. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries with a 5-0 vote.
Next
Tab
item.
H, a proposed resolution of the mayor and city council of the city of North Miami, Florida, authorizing the interim city manager and city attorney to negotiate and execute an agreement with Be Free LLC, doing business as Freebie, in an amount not to exceed $500,000 for the provision of on-demand electric vehicle transportation services under a one-year pilot program utilizing City of Sunrise RFP number 21-04-05-MS in accordance with Section 7-167 of the City of North Miami Code of Ordinances, providing for an effective date and all other purposes. Tab H.
Thank you so much, Madam Clerk. The tab is open for public forum. Seeing,
We have the company here
no,
to do the
yeah, I'm
presentation.
gonna, I'm gonna do the presentation. Okay, seeing none coming, public hearing is closed. The presentation, do we have it on the screen?
I think there's somebody.
Oh, so come on up, please.
Set up.
Public hearing on the.
Oh, that's public hearing.
This tab H, the freebie.
Yes, good evening.
Good evening.
Lina Medina, 1270 Northeast 124th Street. I think this is a great measure of implementing this new system of transportation to reduce our carbon emission and see that other cities are doing it. I would encourage, though, to look into like Miami Lakes, Delray Beach, how they're doing it, because they're using FDOT grants to minimize their cost. And I also see that we granted CRA money to this company, I think 250,000, and we're gonna pay them 500,000. It's a little bit much over than what other cities are paying, like around 410,000. So I would just encourage our city officials to look into that. Thank you.
Thank you. Public hearing is still open on the item, tab H. Seeing none coming, public hearing is now closed. I do have a question on that Ms. Medina just mentioned on the item. The presentation, please, before there's no.
Presentation, yes.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Madam Vice Mayor, and Council. Claudia Miro for Freebie with offices at 371 Northeast 61st Street. I'm happy to be here and present to you our company. Let me just see where the presentation is.
IT's probably sleeping.
Can somebody please put the presentation up? Thank you. Okay. So I wanted to go ahead and present to you and kind of give you just a high-level overview of Freebie, our company, and just kind of explain to you how we have been working with several communities. We see Freebie as the future of public transportation, and basically are physically moving people through free, on-demand, door-to-door, fully electric transportation. We provide a first mile, last mile service, and basically just really help communities become a place where you can live, work, and play without having to have a need of a personal vehicle. We're not just a transit solution, but we're also an economic development tool, helping to physically drive people to the doors of the local businesses. And then lastly is we understand that every city that we operate in has a different look, a different feel, and therefore they have different transportation goals. And so our service is fully customizable to meet the city of North Miami's transportation goals, the transportation needs. And again, the best part of our service is that's 100% electric. So just to give you a little bit of an idea of who Freebie is, we have been around since 2012, just turned 11 years old on Super Bowl Sunday. Currently, we operate a fleet of over 150 vehicles in over 30 communities in South Florida and also in Virginia. No area is too small or too large for us. We operate in different types of communities, coastal communities, downtowns, island communities, metropolitan areas. We have received several awards, the Key to the City of Miami, the Key to Miami-Dade County, and that just really speaks to the fact that we are a partner with different communities and provide value to these areas. If you're a football fan, we were the official Clean Street Transportation Partner of the Super Bowl in 2020. And if you see here the map, this kind of shows you the footprint that we have in South Florida. We are in Kissimmee, as far north as Kissimmee, and as far south as Isla Mirada in the Florida Keys. And we're also in St. Pete Beach on the West Coast. So over 30 communities here in South Florida. And I do want to mention that every single community that we have service in right now, we started off as a pilot project, and every single one of those cities has continued beyond the 12-month pilot project and has either added vehicles to their service area or expanded their service area and continued on with us. So how does it work? Freebie is a combination of Uber meets Yelp, where you're able to request a ride with just a push of a button and also be immersed in anything that's happening right here in North Miami. We specialize in inspiring local destinations to make sure that we're moving the residents to the local businesses, to the local restaurants, just really making sure that if you get in a freebie, you're going to stay and you're going to patronize the businesses and the local restaurants here within North Miami. If you look at our app here in the center there where it says the Museum of Contemporary Art, that is our carousel. You can do so many things from this carousel. You can promote different businesses, and this is free advertising that we do for the local businesses. You can do surveying from here. Here on the bottom, you see you can connect to the NOMI Express tracker so that residents can see, connect to other forms of transportation, mass transit. And then again, the thing that really sets Freebie apart from any other transit company is that ability that we have to drive that economic development and really just deliver customers to the front door of those businesses. These are maps of the different service areas that we work in. Now, the way that we're going to work, we're proposing to work within the city of North Miami is to do a zone within a zone, which basically we will have an outer zone and an inner zone. The inner zone will be comprised of the CRA area, and the outer zone will be the remaining parts of the city. And this is basically to make sure that every ride has to start or end within the CRA area. We make the technology so that when you request a ride, as long as you're starting your ride or ending your ride within the CRA area, again, with that goal of promoting that economic development, the app will take you there. That will also minimize going house to house and really just focusing on the economic development there. And so these are some examples of the geofence. You can change the geofence, expand it or whatnot. They're highly customizable, as I mentioned earlier. How to use the app, super user-friendly, very easy to use. As you see there, that green button, you just hit the Request a Ride button. That's going to take you to the next screen, which is you drop your PIN for your pickup location. Once you do that, you move on to the third screen, and you can put where to. You can either type in, to give you an example, Publix. Type in the Publix, you could put the address of the Publix, or you can select from one of these Take Me To, or down here where the category section is, restaurants and bars, arts and entertainment, points of interest, and select from any of those in those categories. And then finally, the last screen that you see is the how many passengers. Just confirm if it's just you, you hit me, 2, 3, 4. This is also the section where you're going to be able to request accommodations. So if you need a wheelchair, this is where a wheelchair, a car seat, a booster seat, this is the section where you would select that. And then once you confirm your ride, you are going to be connected in real time to the driver. So that way you can communicate directly with them. You're also going to get a message from the app that's going to tell you what your approximate wait time is. If you have a ride ahead of you, it'll communicate with you if the ride's been dropped off. And the wonderful part about this is that the resident is waiting for either in their place of business, inside a place of business under the AC, or from home. And if they have to wait 10 minutes or 15 minutes, they know they're waiting in a comfortable place versus in the heat or in the rain at a bus stop or a trolley stop. Some of the high-level program benefits, again, we really transform communities into a place where you can live, work, hang out, and not need a personal vehicle. It minimizes single occupancy vehicles off the road within the community here, taking those cars off the road. And when you do that, you're reducing traffic congestion. At the same time, you're freeing up that limited available parking spaces. We also act as a feeder system to mass transit. We don't like to say that we compete with mass transit. We act as a feeder. We enhance it, helping those folks with that first and last mile. We understand that a lot more people would probably take the bus, the trolley, if they didn't have to walk 2 or 3 blocks to get to that location. And having Freebie take them there is definitely, we've seen in many cities that they've boosted their ridership numbers there as well. Our community ambassadors, we call our drivers community ambassadors. Drivers drive, community ambassadors represent. They act as mobile concierges for the city of North Miami. I will touch on that a little bit later again. Again, economic development, I keep saying economic development a million times. That ability that we have to really drive the customers to the front doors of those businesses is a really high value point for us. And then sustainability, the fact that our vehicles are 100% battery-powered vehicles, promoting clean energy and reducing carbon emissions within the city. Who rides Freebie? A lot of people ask us, who is it that rides Freebie? Who takes the Freebie? Well, we are very proud to say everybody rides Freebie. Freebie has become the most equitable form of public transportation. We see different people using Freebie throughout different times of the day. In the morning, you might see somebody taking a Freebie to go to their minimum wage job. At lunchtime, you might see a C-suite executive taking it to lunch or to business meetings. In the afternoon, you have students taking it. You have seniors taking it to their doctor's appointment, to the pharmacy, to the grocery store. Really have helped move the senior community out of their homes and not having to wait or depend on family members to take them grocery shopping or to their appointments on the weekend or taking time off. So really, everybody rides Freebie. And again, we are committed to promoting that equitability throughout the community. The next thing I had talked about, we talk about our drivers being community ambassadors. They really do become the face of the community. Once you have drivers, it's the same drivers, the same community ambassadors within your city there, the same ones you're going to see. They become a mobile concierge, a rolling information desk on wheels. They have to know everything that's going on within the city of North Miami. A new restaurant that opened up, any information that you want us to pass through, we can definitely give that out to our drivers to make sure that they are communicating that with all of the riders. They can hand out flyers. If you're having a special event, they will have knowledge of everything that's happening locally here. And then they also double over as neighborhood watch. They're a second set of eyes on the street. If they see something, they say something.
Oh, Lord.
And we hold them to the, huh?
No, our chief, that's the favorite slogan.
So we hold them to the highest level, highest standards to help strengthen the bond between the city and the community. And I want to say to you that our drivers are 100% Freebie employees. They're W-2 employees with health benefits. So we conform to FDOT's 1490 code. That means that we're doing level 2 background checks, drug screenings, health screenings. I mean, we even do a sleep apnea study so that you don't have a driver falling asleep on the wheel. So again, 70% of our riders are women because of the safety. Everybody feels safe riding Freebie. I also like to mention, I live in a Freebie zone and my son takes Freebie home from school every single day because I know he's in a car with a safe driver and I know that he's gonna get home safely. So I just wanted to speak to the fact that our drivers are a part of our company and really a face of the community. Again, the economic development, we understand that in order to have a successful mobility platform, it has to benefit all the stakeholders, the residents, the workers, visitors, everybody has to benefit from that. And local businesses benefit from having the customers delivered to their door. Government and local organizations also benefit because of those bonds that you're forming within the community. I mean, I can't emphasize this enough. When you have the same drivers riding around in the community, they get to know your name, you get to know their name, and there becomes that sense of community that you want to build here in North Miami. And then, again, high level, another benefit is that our vehicles are 100% electric. I've said that before. And we understand that it's not just going to be having this effective mobility in the city of North Miami is not just going to be a quality of life issue, but it's also going to help attract residents, businesses, knowing that you have an effective mobility system in the city of North Miami that's going to bring people door to door. on
Awesome.
demand.
Thank you so much, Claudia, for the presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. We have a couple of questions here. I know my colleague does, and we'll start with Councilman Galvin, and I have a couple of questions myself. Councilman Galvin?
Sure, thank you. I heard you say that you're going to do rides within the CRA zone, CRA boundaries. There's obviously a 50-50 match between the city and the CRA. A significant swath of my district is not in the CRA. Does that mean my district can't use freebie, or?
So let me clarify. So what I said was we're doing a zone within a zone. The outer zone will be the entire city of North Miami, and then the inner zone will be the CRA, so that everyone is we're moving traffic into that CRA to stimulate that economic development.
But what if you don't want it? What if you live in District 1 at 135th and Biscayne, east side, not in the CRA, and you want to go to the Publix at 147th and Biscayne, which is east side, not in the CRA?
If you have a place, like a place at a point of interest that you want your residents to go to, that's very simple. We geofence the Publix, and then they can go to the Publix. We're trying to minimize, to have a better level of service, is having people going from house to house. So if you identify and you tell us, listen, there's a Publix here and a Winn-Dixie here or a Walgreens there that's not within the CRA and that we know that our residents are going to want to get to, we simply geofence that, add it to, we can do little islands in addition to that. So if there's any of those points of interest, we can definitely work with the technologies to make sure that your residents can get to those locations.
I'm not a big fan of that answer, but I'm probably, District 1, and this is, just.
Yeah.
The CRA is a huge benefit. District 1, for the most part, receives nothing directly for that benefit. So I would hate to see there be restrictions on residents of District 1 just because they happen to live outside of the CRA. So I'd probably roll with it tonight, but just for staff's information, it's a concern that,
Again, I had mentioned that we are highly customizable, so I'm sure that we could work with you.
And when you said that you do first mile, last mile service, does that mean you only get a mile? When you get in that car, you've got a mile to go wherever you're going, or a mile to go?
That's usually just a basic term to say that we can help get you to another form of mass transit that maybe goes a little further outside of the community, whether that be a bus or a railway, a train station, a metro rail. So just getting you to that next leg of your transportation.
And how do you handle it then if, I'm a high school kid and I want to go see my girlfriend who lives a little bit far away, I don't want to walk? Can you just
House to house?
House to house.
You can, we have cities that set it up that way, but because you're being funded with the CRA, I don't know if we can do a house to house. And one of the reasons that we've proposed doing it this way is because of the level of service. If you want to get people to their place of work, their place of, of where they're shopping, that's how we work in other cities. Sure. Again, highly customizable, but you really will determine what it is. There's a lot of details that still need to be ironed out, and that's really what the city is going to determine. We don't put the rules. There's some cities that say, you know what, we don't want 13-year-olds riding the freebie because then it's going to take X amount of time. Or we don't want, whatever you guys want, really it's customized to how it is that the city dictates. You dictate the hours, you dictate the days of operation, you dictate who you want to ride, you dictate where you want us to go. This is merely just a proposal of, the outer zone and the inner zone, but definitely, like I said, highly customizable to work with you.
Okay, and then my last comment, this is more for staff. We tried the green bikes, I forget what they were called, the lime bikes.
Yeah.
And they stood here and were sure they had it ready, and boy, the kids figured out how to break into those systems and drive the bikes off, and they quietly took away all the lime bikes within like 6 months, because their plan up here didn't translate to the plans of people on the street. So I just want us to be thoughtful of that if there is any angle that they can exploit, the residents, God bless them, will do that. And I don't want anybody to be caught going, oh my God, we never thought of this. So that's all I got, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Oh, Councilwoman.
Yes, And on Councilman Galvin's note, do we also take them back home after they?
They have to request a ride, so maybe
Okay, okay,
it's
so
just.
I just wanted to make
yeah.
sure, because I know you said CRA boundaries, but do they go back home? You mentioned that.
Start or
hour-
end within the CRA.
Okay.
Mhm.
You mentioned 56 hours, I think, per week. What are the hours of operation for?
As I mentioned, the city will determine the days, the times, and how many hours. So if you're going to go with 56 hours or 70 hours or 84 hours, however many, you will determine how you want to spread those hours apart and when you want to start and end your service.
So if we wanted to offer like Friday night service at 24 hours, we could? Or is that
You
what you're-
could.
Okay.
Mhm.
And then do we know which option we're going with? Because I saw there was several pricing in the proposal. Like which option are we going with? Because it says something about 5 cars, 6 cars, and the number changes.
We're going with the option of 56 hours a week and 5 cars, 5 Teslers.
Okay. And since this is a pilot program for the first year, what would be the cost moving forward? Do we know?
It would depend on if we're going to expand the services.
But if we keep it the
If we
same?
keep it the same, I mean, we have an agreement that we're piggybacking off of.
Mhm.
And so I would actually refer back to Alberto based on those terms.
Okay.
Sure, and through the manager, Alberto Estrada, Purchasing Director, just to answer the question, we are actually, as a point of reference, using the City of Sunrise. They have a contract for freebie, but their contract actually is more expensive than our contract. They're paying $590,000 a year. So we're going to have to work out some of the logistics in terms of, you know, the hours of service and so forth in the areas. And that'll be something that we'll be working with them on, and to sort of get a little more detail and refine a little bit more what their program will entail. Keep in mind, this is what we're proposing to you is a 1-year pilot program, and they understand that if their performance is not up to par, and some of the comments, for instance, that Councilman Galvin mentioned, that we've had bad experiences in the past, if they don't perform, it's up to par, the community, they're not satisfied, et cetera, and that'll be it for the program, right? So we're trying it on a 1-year basis, and then we'll go from there.
So, but I'm thinking in terms of budget year and preparing for the next budget. Let's say we are to move forward with a contract extension. Is the number still around the same? Does it go up every time gas goes up? Like, what's the?
What you have before you right now is a not-to-exceed amount of $500,000.
$500,000 for
That's what
this
you have,
year.
and right, and that's what we're going to work with, and that's what we'll make
So
it
it's
work.
about $100,000 per car.
And it's $100,000 per car, but I must add, we've already started to look into the FDOT grants. So we're looking into that right now to make sure that we
Okay.
can get some additional funding.
And this doesn't affect NOMI Express at all, does it?
Well,
Like,
we
doesn't
gotta talk
remove
about that.
the amount of
No,
vehicles with
it actually should be able to sort of supplement or
Supplement.
complement the services that we have with our NOMI Express program.
Okay, thank you.
Vice Mayor and then Councilman Charles.
Thank you so much, Claudia. Thank you so much for the presentation. I actually attended the Florida Leagues of Cities legislative session and saw this presentation there. Like she's mentioned, there are several cities within Miami-Dade County that are already using that. We have a couple of sister cities near us, Aventura being one of them, using this service. When I saw this, I immediately thought about our seniors. You know, just going to the groceries, going to their doctor's appointment. You know, they were they were the major ones that I really thought about. And like the presentation mentioned, that everyone can benefit from there. What I wanted to ask is for your community ambassadors, when you are hiring within our city, will our resident be able to be considered first?
So right. That's what we do. We like to hire first within the city because we want our drivers to be knowledgeable on the area and to know everything that's going on here and really be a part of the community.
Okay. And that's it. And just wanted to make sure again that this freebie is going to be throughout the entire city. It's just that there are areas where, I mean, the point of this also is to create economic development and to make sure that people are using our CRA areas. But anyone in the North Miami boundaries will be able to use, that's the intent, right? That anyone in if you're a resident of North Miami, whether you live in a CRA boundary or not, you will have access to freebie.
That's correct.
Okay, just wanted to put that on the record. Thank you. Go ahead, Mr. Councilman.
Oh, yeah, I think better now, huh? Thank you very much, Vice Mayor, and thank you for such a great presentation. And it looks very nice, and let's see when we get started how nice it's gonna be for our residents. And I am going to piggyback on Vice Mayor's comment about the drivers, so we know we're gonna start with 5 cars, right? So meaning that we're gonna have 5 drivers, just for the record, and 5 drivers gonna be from North Miami, so that when they see something, they can say something. Is that right?
That's right.
All right. Now, I have a follow-up question. Let's see if I'm over at somewhere in Biscayne Boulevard, and then I have to go down to Pepper Park. Can I get a ride from freebie from Biscayne Boulevard, 123rd Street, and down to Pepper Park?
So that's a great question. We are microtransit, and the whole point of freebie is to work within the community, so it would only work within the city of North Miami.
Pepper Park is part of the.
Oh, okay. As long as you're within the geofence, the app will, if you go outside of the geofence, the app won't let you request your ride because you have to put where you're going. So as long as you're within the city boundary, then yes.
So within the city, there's no limit on the mileage?
On the what?
On how many miles?
Miles, no.
No, okay. All right, thank you. That's it for me for now.
One more?
Just, I'm sorry, just one more question. If this passes tonight, how quickly could we start?
We've been having several conversations with Claudia about different programs, and actually I've had conversations with Whistler because we want to make sure that it is something that can complement our trolley. So I'll say that we'll be meeting within the next couple of days to sort of make sure what we can do, and I'll let you know within the next week or so how we can actually expedite this.
Okay.
So I can't tell you that it's going to be expedited by next week, but we'll be meeting this week.
No, it
on
won't be
finalizing
next
the
week.
plan.
That I could, yeah.
But we will be meeting to finalize the plan.
Councilwoman Timothy,
No,
and then I
The
have
only
some
thing I
questions.
would ask too is, I know this is the first time we're having the presentation before the board. If we can maybe set meetings with the council so that we can discuss the particulars, the geofencing, so that we can understand how do you request it? Can, a senior who is not tech
That's
savvy
right,
make a
that's right.
call? All of those features. I would, before we finalize, maybe staff tells
Yeah.
us what they're, suggesting for the 56 hours based on, zones that are popping in the city and so forth, and, and can come to us and just kind of talk to us
And just
about
to add, what I did do is I went to Claudia, and she actually did some homework, and she put you did some information where you were able to gather information about where our ridership would be, and you were able to
Yeah.
give us some
So one of the
recommendations.
things that, first of all, I just wanted to mention, thank you for bringing up that point. We do have a call center, so if you have seniors or people with
That's right.
disabilities that are, or just simply, I can tell you, there's some people, just my own mother, she's not comfortable using an app. They can call the call center, and they'll do the same function of tell them, where are you going? So that's, I wanted to address that. And then what I think that the city manager is referencing is that the city will have a live dashboard. And that dashboard will show you can look at it in real time and say, how many people have taken the freebie today? How many people are currently waiting? What's the average wait time? You can look at a heat map and say, where is it that most of the ride requests are coming from? Where is it that they're going to? And that is the whole point of the pilot program, is that you can, alter that. Because maybe you say, okay, we started off with 56 hours from this time to this time, but really there's a day that no one's riding it. Maybe we want to take the hours from that day and allocate it to other days. So really, that's the beauty of the pilot program, is that you'll be able to, once that data starts coming in the first 2 months, 3 months, you're going to be able to make those decisions and say, you know what, now that we really know how our city's performing and how the riders are moving within the community, we want to make these changes. And that's as simple as a phone call to us to make those changes.
Thank you. I have a couple of questions. Claudia, I'm a big fan. And thanks to Vice Mayor Irving, when the idea, when I saw another city had it, and we were kind of late in the game. But I must say, we do have the North Miami, the trolley system, that's not operating as efficient as it should, it's not running on time. So hopefully this would kind of help out. Again, I am a big fan, but I do have some questions for staff as well as for you. I did hear that where you said there would be a call center. Are they going to have folks in there at least between the 9 and 5 hours that speak Spanish and Creole?
So that was one of the items that we were discussing with the city, that we know right now we have people that speak Spanish, but we know that this community has a large speakership of Creole. So we know that we're going to have to bring on staff that speak Creole.
Yeah, I think before we even start, that needs to be a guarantee, because that would not be successful for us in terms of, like Councilwoman Timothy was mentioning, a lot of the people who do need the service, they don't know how to use the app, or they wouldn't even know how to speak English in terms of calling. So they would possibly need some assistance, especially the seniors. I know Vice Mayor mentioned, they'll, and older folks. It's not necessarily folks who doesn't speak English. It's just the technology when it comes to it in terms of someone calling from point A to point B. So I think staff. Is that going to be housing with the transportation division for staff?
Specify your question. What's going to be housed with the transportation?
The freebie.
It's with the transportation division, yes.
Okay, so every month we'll be getting, well, I think you said daily we'll be seeing the ridership in terms of if it's working, if it's not, because we want it to be a success, and I think the need is there, but I think we keep forgetting that we are a little bit special in terms of the population. We do have folks who need extra help when it comes to technology. As you can see, the push that we had as we trying to roll out some of the programs, that some of the initiatives that we are rolling out. So we are excited about it, but I do not want us as a city to set freebie up as failure. We need to do our own homework in terms of making sure that the infrastructure, the support is there, and I'll be looking at the reports just to make sure that the comments are there, because I've been getting some reports in terms of our own the trolley system that's not working because it's not coming on time. I know we're not going to have that issue with you guys, but I do want where we do have some type of mechanism where folks could call for service. Because it's not going to be, eventually they'll get it once they learn the system. But at the beginning, we just have to make sure that we do all that we can to help those who need the help the most. But thank you so much, Claudia. Yes, go ahead.
I just have one more question.
Sure.
I saw in the proposal that marketing and PR and outreach, is the city doing it or are they doing it?
Well, it'll probably be a combination of both,
Okay.
but they have also a community outreach sort of component.
Thank you, because I know sometimes our purchasing department likes to take that out of certain solicitations and put it on staff.
Right. If I may expand on that, I just want to expand on that. So once we come in to the city, we have a team of economic development officers they're going to go door to door to every single business, number one, to offer that free advertising and create a profile for them on the app.
Mhm.
So we'll definitely get the word out, going business to business, and then, just really, we can also do a little bit more working hand in hand with the city
Yeah,
to help make sure that everyone is aware that our
'cause
service is here.
With our, like the mayor was stating, with our population, I know they like radio, they like, social media, all that good stuff. So I just wanted to make sure that the marketing is robust. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I
Thank
have
you.
One
Yes,
last
sir.
question, and that's probably for staff. As far as the operation, do we have a time frame when, let's say, when we get started, from what time to what time we are going to offer that service? Because I know it's 56 hours.
So those are the conversations that we have to have this week so that we can finalize with the 56 hours, what that beginning time will be, the end time, which days of operation. So we'll actually come up with a recommendation, and then we'll actually provide that. So when Claudia and her team is meeting with each of the council, they'll have that information and we'll get your additional input.
Okay, the reason why I ask is, you know, it's like over weekdays, we probably have like a time frame where we need the service, like on the weekend, you know, most of the time people goes out like 8 to go to restaurant, to a bar and everything. So now we have that kind of flexibility when we go on and set up those hours?
Based on my understanding, based on the dashboard, we'll be able to take a look at the information and we can make adjustments as we go. And I believe Claudia made that comment. So if we start out with that 56 weeks and 56 hours a week, and we have it during most of the day because we're trying to help those seniors get to their doctor's appointments or to the grocery store, but we find that the ridership is low, we can modify that a little bit. But at the beginning, we want to monitor that because maybe we need to do more marketing. Maybe we need to do more outreach. So we don't want to be too fast about making adjustments in the first month or so of the program because we want to make sure that everyone knows about the program before we start to make adjustments.
So what does that mean? Let's say we offer that service from Monday to Sunday within that 56 hours time frame, right? So are we going to start with a flat time, let's say 9 to 5? That's where I'm heading.
I can't answer that question right now because what I'm doing is I'm taking information from Claudia based off of what their expertise is, based on what works in other cities. I'm also taking information from where our business hours are, from the businesses that are, so I'm using John Lorfield, our economic development person, to give me some information, and then also working with our transportation in Whistler based on our trolley services. So I'm looking at all of those different things so we can make sure that we maximize that 56 hours.
All right, thank you.
Move for approval.
Second.
I have a motion made by Vice Mayor Esther Irvin to approve the item at tab H. The motion was seconded by Councilman Charles. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries with a 5-0 vote.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Tab I, a proposed resolution of the Mayor and City Council of the City of North Miami, Florida, authorizing the interim city manager and city attorney to negotiate and execute a professional services agreement between the City of North Miami and Tetra Tech, Inc. for engineering, design, permitting, and construction administration services for the citywide septic to sanitary sewer improvement project in an amount not to exceed $457,000 pursuant to request for qualifications number 08-17-18, continuing professional architectural and engineering services, providing for an effective date and all other purposes. Tab I.
Thank you so much. Public hearing is now open on tab I. Or do we do, is there a presentation and then we could do public hearing? Miguel? I'm sorry, Mr. Estrada.
No,
Go ahead.
I'm the purchase director.
I know.
I'm a lot better looking than Miguel.
There we go. Oh, Miguel, that's a sharp. Go ahead, sorry.
Yeah. Well, just briefly, the item before you is a request from staff for your approval of proposed agreement with the engineering consulting firm Tetra Tech is to provide the city with engineering services for a proposed citywide septic to sanitary sewer improvement project. And this is in response to the Mayor and Council's initiative to improve the city's infrastructure. We have a brief presentation from Tetra Tech representatives to give you an overall scope and view of the project for you.
Good evening. I'm Chris Savatsky with Tetra Tech. Pleased to be able to stand here and present to you a brief presentation on this septic to sewer project. So, as you've heard, there have been some award winnings from couple grants that the city's received. One, an FDEP water quality grant funding, and then a second follow-up that there's a timeline to complete this for August of 2024. And with that grant funding, Tetra Tech's put together a kind of a macro scale what might be needed to complete the design services, any sub-consultant services to provide the work for the contractor to get out on the job site and running. It is a time and materials scope of services. So With that, if the project needs are there, we will use it. If they are not there, we're not going to use them. Specifically, we're going to be looking for those low-hanging fruit opportunities where residential properties, commercial properties are already abutting maybe a gravity sewer that's in place, that's in service. Some of those even have laterals to the properties ready to be connected to. There are other opportunities to expand the gravity sewer system, short distances, just to bring service to properties that are nearby. And in the process, there are going to be the abandonment of septic systems. So we've had a list of requirements that we're going to be looking at and coordinating with the contractor on the project in regards to state requirements, city requirements, and completing those septic tank abandonments. Here are a couple slides, couple figures on this slide, and you can see very small dots on this, but this is a couple areas, cloistered areas where the city has already identified parcels that are currently on septic tanks. Many of these are already abutting gravity sewers in operation. And so the city will utilize those grant funds to put the little bits of work into those properties can be served. Tetra Tech's role is going to be everything from the surveying, geotechnical services, getting those sub-consultant services to aid in the design, and then carry it out to bid as quickly as possible to meet the deadline. It is a tentative deadline. Right? It's something that can move, but that is the schedule for now. This is the second figure. We're looking now on the east side of the city. Not as many parcels here, but there have been some other parcels that city staff have brought forward. Some of them are far east in the area along Biscayne Bay. Talked a little bit about the services. Other things that we do look for and we'll be studying is utilities, making sure that we're maximizing the use of the existing infrastructure in place and not overloading any systems already. That's all.
Awesome.
I think that's the end.
Thank you so much, sir. Public hearing is now open on the tab.
Good evening, Esther Blinn, 1990 Northeast 118 Road. I'm here on behalf of a client who lives at 13350 Northeast 3rd Court. That's been the subject of much concern and debate and examination by this council and the Planning Commission. And I wanted to make sure, A, what the connection, if any, was between the persons and entities you're contracting with and those developers that already put the development, the strip mall and the storage unit, and then illegally cleared the land that caused the massive flooding that has been ongoing since 2018. So I think that's something that should concern the council. I raise it as a question. If there is a conflict of interest, it needs to be addressed and be transparent. If there isn't, then I would ask that this septic to sewer transition prioritize that area that is in, I believe, Mary Irvin's district, and that you speed up the assessment and the plan. I know that that area is not connected. It is near the county. And I've spoken to the District 2 Commissioner about this area, and it is near a pumping station, but none of the septic tanks, they're in what's called a quote French system, and none of them are connected to a pumping station to pump the floodwaters out. So although it might be convenient for other areas, this should be a priority regardless of how the proposals are made. It needs to be considered.
Thank you so much, Ms. Blinn. Thank you so much. Anyone else? Public hearing is still open on the item. Seeing none coming, public hearing is now closed. Madam Manager, on the question that she raised, there isn't any relationship between, I guess, the Tetra, the proposed person that we have doing the work in the developers? Okay, I just had to put that out there. Okay, and we are, to her second point, this has been prioritized. It's 38 homes, and there's about 30-something, 34 that's in that area. So everything is super fast prioritized.
Right.
Okay, perfect.
She's actually, the address that she mentioned, she's actually project number 34.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. Can we?
I have a
Sure.
few questions. If, while we're doing the septic to sewer conversion and remediation, if there is a substantial damage to someone's home, like I know this is just the plan, we didn't, select the contract, will that be part of the city's, I guess, liability, like to make sure that we bring it back to its original state?
Thank you, Councilwoman. I'll have to defer that question to the engineer. So basically, what she's saying is if there's any damage to any of the residences, so will the city be responsible for that? So.
Sure. So the work is predominantly in the rights of way.
Okay.
Work that would go onto the property would be a contractor, a certified, septic tank contractor going onto the property to properly abandon the septic tank system. Anything that is disrupted on the private property has got to be, usually, right, that's captured in the scope that contractor restore that private property. If there's an indemnification matter, those are usually addressed as well in the contract measures.
Yes.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure, I did hear about a recent septic to sewer in, I think Fulford, that was done, that included several different parcels, so I just wanted to clarify. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. Can I hear a motion?
Move for approval?
Second.
Okay.
I have a motion made by Vice Mayor Estimate Irvin to approve the item at tab I. The motion was seconded by Councilman Charles. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries with a 5-0 vote. Tab J, a proposed second reading ordinance of the mayor and city
Thank you.
council of the city of North Miami, Florida, amending chapter 13 of the Code of Ordinances entitled Offenses at Article 1 entitled In General by creating a new section 13-6 to be entitled Commercial Activities on Any Public Land Belonging to the City, establishing general restrictions for use of public land, providing for conflict and severability, providing for codification, and providing for an effective date. Tab J.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. This is the second reading on this ordinance. This ordinance, as we spoke last time, was brought and sponsored by Councilman Galvin. What this ordinance does is prohibit commercial activities on any city-owned property. It does allow for franchises. It does allow for special events and special permits. We had a full discussion last meeting. If there's any questions, I'm here to answer. And obviously, we hope that you support this item. Thank you.
We didn't open and close the public hearing on this item. Okay. Public hearing is now open on the item. There's 2 mics on tab, what is this tab? J. There are 2 mics, just in case, if there's other people. What's going on? 2 minutes, Chanel? Yeah, right, Frank? Okay.
Good evening, Mayor, Council members. I'm Frank Woland. I represent SoFlo Outdoor Adventures, Aaron Jacobs, Margie Garcia, and baby Aria, who was napping outside. It's a small family business, and I hope you can make them feel welcome in North Miami. 120 years ago, Theodore Roosevelt created 200 parks, preserves, forests, and he created them for the public so that the public would be able to enjoy nature. As it happens, I was at the park last Saturday, and I took these pictures, and this was in the Arch Creek East Preserve, and if you pass the ordinance as it is, and you don't give my client a license to operate this kind of business, then this can never happen in the future again, and people like this will not get to enjoy the Arch Creek Preserve or any public water or park in North Miami. Mr. City Attorney, could you pass this to the clerk, please, and hand it out to staff and the members of the council? So what we've done, because Mr. Cuzo said that, well, he didn't say, but the ordinance says that there can be a license. So we're asking the city to give us a license so that we can operate our business providing nature tours responsibly in city parks and on city land. Yesterday, they received their license. May I finish
30
my
seconds,
remarks,
sir?
please?
Yeah, 30 seconds, go ahead.
Well, rather than have someone else read my notes, it'll just take a minute or two.
Okay, go ahead.
Thanks. Yesterday, my clients got their license. It was approved 3 months ago, but it was finally handed to them. And it has conditions, which is that they can't operate in any city park on any city property. I believe that's unfair because I think everyone in North Miami should have the right to access the parks or rent a kayak, even and especially in city parks and on the waterfront and city property. After checking with staff at the planning department, they rented a store on 135th Street. They committed their life savings, $50,000, because they needed to do that to get a license to continue their kayak tours, because that's what they were told at City Hall. I encourage you not to pass a law which is directed only to these young people. But if you do pass a law, then I encourage you to please give them a license so that they can continue what they're doing. And I ask you again to, to come back at the next meeting or maybe the meeting after that and discuss having staff, they'll give you insurance, they'll be responsible, they'll deal with parking and every concern that was raised at the last public hearing. They are responsible young people. They leave the environment much cleaner than they find it. And I hope you'll let everybody in North Miami enjoy our parks. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Anyone else? Public hearing, so, ma'am? Yes, this mic right there. Go ahead. Yes, thank you. Anyone else is speaking on this item? There's another mic right here where Mr. Rowland was speaking, former Mayor Rowland and City Clerk Frank Rowland. Anyone else speaking on the item? Okay, thank you, ma'am. You'll be the last person. Public hearing will be closed. Go ahead, ma'am.
Okay. Hello. Good evening. My name is Susan Fink, and I represent Arch Creek East Neighborhood Association. And with regard to this kayak business, first of all, it is considered a preserve, not a park. It's not a park, it's a preserve. And that's what we're looking to do, is preserve the park, preserve the preserve, okay? It's our position. I'm a board member for Arch Creek East Neighborhood Association. It's our business should not be allowed to operate in the Ace Preserve, as it will open the door to other companies that'll also try to do business in there. For example, next thing you know, it could be food trucks, could be a paddleboard company, all of which have the potential to harm the fragile ecosystem of the preserve. By not allowing people to rent kayaks doesn't mean that people can't still come in and use, bring their own kayaks. I mean, this isn't the only way people get to enjoy the preserve with, they can bring their own, and they have been bringing their own paddle boards. You can launch yourself into the preserve. You don't need a company to launch you into the waters there. So that's all I have to say.
Thank you so much. Name and address for the record.
Susan Fink, 2000 Northeast 135th Street.
Thank you. Mr. Rowland, your name and address for the record as well. Thank you, Ms. Frank. Name and address for the record. Yes, sir.
Frank Rowland, 12865 West Dixie Highway.
You want to do the mic, Madam Clerk? Oh, okay. No, I'm just being. Thank you. Sir, you want to? Yeah, go ahead. And you are the last person. It will be closed. Yes. Oh, somebody else? Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't see you. Go ahead, ma'am. I'm sorry. Go ahead. And then after her. Go ahead.
Good evening. My name is Margie Garcia. You guys have a rare opportunity here to view North Miami as an ecological oasis through this gem at Arch Creek and just any waterway in North Miami in public. We host these tours not only for benefit, but to keep preserving the preserve and educate these people on how to save these ecosystems in the backyard. Isn't that what preservation is all about, is teaching and educating? That's what we are mainly trying to do. The more people that are excluded from using the parks, the less public the parks become. And if it is publicly open, then we should be able to use it as well. Please, council, do your part in helping us teach people how to responsibly enjoy these parks. Thank you.
Your address?
Do I get?
Name and address.
1991 North 135th Street, Northeast 135th
Northeast.
Street.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sir,
Okay, I kayak.
name and address.
My name is Robert Johnson. I live behind the old WAC museum that just
Speak.
got torn down, so I'm a resident of the area. Okay, I know that, I know that whole area since you guys been knee-high to a frog, okay? And I know these people, I met them on the island. I kayak all the time. These people never harm the environment. As far as food trucks, that's a bunch of BS. You know, I go there all the time. I walk my dog, I kayak. They preserve the environment. These are the stewards of the environment, okay? They don't disrupt anything. I kayak back there all the time, and they do not do anything destructive. Actually, they do more for this city than the whole marketing budget on Miami Beach to encourage tourism. Their clients come from all around the world to experience Florida, and they got repeat customers. So I'm not really angry, but I'm really kind of like, you guys don't have nothing better to do than shut down this business? I mean, they do more for the state of Florida Tourism Board.
Oh, wow.
I encourage you guys to go kayaking out there to see what they're doing. And I walk my dog, I kayak back there. Yeah, it's an environmental preserve. Yeah, but believe me, I know these people. That's where I met them, out there on the island. And as far as, you know, so you want to go after the bad guys? Go after all the boaters and the polluters and the jet skiers. They're on kayaks and paddle boards. How is that harming the environment? I mean, you know, a bunch of rich people in Keystone don't like see kayaks. That's a bunch of BS. I go there all the time.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you so
okay.
much. Go ahead.
Good evening. My name is Vanessa Champion, 142 10 Northeast 8th Avenue. I was enjoying these tours, so I can see how they also pick up trash around the mangrove area. You can see a lot of trash stock on the roots, and it's very important to preserve them because they are natural filter for the water. They clean the water, and plus they are houses for small fishes. So the big fishes eat as well this one, and we're gonna eat the fish, right? So the last time they pick up a couple buckets of trash. So I really see a nice way to teach people. Only you can see the impact that is doing with the city, and not only that, we can see also from the island is coming a lot of trash, and I don't see nobody else to pick all the trash around the roads. Plus, I heard that they have a project, like they want to also bring young part of the community, that they, like the ladies say, they can bring their own kayaks, yes, but we have a community that they cannot afford them. So we want to teach, but also we want to, they want to make projects that are focused in help the kids to how they can preserve all the mangroves around here, and plus they can enjoy a day out just to relax and enjoy the view if they cannot afford it. So I feel that is a very important impact, not only for the society, also is for the environment. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And now I do, public hearing is closed. Last time on the item, I know we voted, sorry, I think yeah, but I that's fine, but I did ask for public hearing. There's 2 mics, but that's, sir, go ahead. So is somebody else, are you gonna speak? Go to this mic. Yeah, is there anyone else? Public hearing is reopened. Anyone else is speaking on this item? Mr. Rowland, anyone else behind you? Anyone else? Okay, go ahead, sir, and then you. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Thank you very much. I'm Aaron Jacobs, owner of SoFlo Water Adventures, 1989-1991 Northeast 135th Street. I've been kayaking and paddleboarding through Arch Creek East for about 7 years now. It's really unfair that a few people that live across the street can look out their window and see a few people unloading kayaks and feel disturbed by this. I mean, what's next? They're going to stop people from taking pictures in the park or making a barbecue or just passing through with their dogs? It's kind of ridiculous that I spent 5 months and everything that I've saved to open a business to receive a license after 5 months that says I can't operate anywhere in the city. What was the purpose of me opening the store, getting approval from the city, jumping through hoops, waiting 5 months for a license, and then you guys come back with a stamp on my license that says not valid in any parks? I'm not even operating out of a park. I'm simply passing through the park. Customers meet at my location. We drive to the end of the street. Okay, no one has to park there because I have plenty of parking. We walk to the water, load on the kayaks, leave. We're out for about 2 hours. We come back, we get on the kayaks, we take them with us. Nothing is stationed in the park. We're not there disturbing anybody. We're not harming the environment. We're using the kayak slide that's been there for many, many years. We're there to teach people and educate people about the importance of the park, the mangroves, the environment. It's unfair that you guys are creating this ordinance to stop people like myself and other businesses from operating legally within the city. I think you should reconsider, maybe for a later date. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Sir. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Hi, I'm Gino Gonzalez. I've been a Southeast Florida resident for over 20 years. I moved here when I was a kid. Miami is well known.
Yeah, your address, sir?
1648 Northwest 19th Terrace, Miami. I live in Miami, so I don't actually live in North Miami, but after living here for so many years, Miami is known for many things. When I tell people, I had a chance to do this for the first time about a month ago, and to go through the experience, to see these people, yes, teach about the environment, actually clean up whenever they see something that was not clean as we go through it, and to share this with different people from all over the world. And yes, they get people, I had a tour with people from Brazil, people from different parts, and it's like, you can get to have Miami be a place where you just don't come to party, you also come to have this type of nature retreats, this type of nature experiences, which is something different to provide everybody else. And again, you know, it's actually something that there's a concern about food trucks coming up and operating because you're opening up the park or the preserve to commercial businesses, but that's what the licensing process is for, is to have a gate where you can actually determine what kind of businesses will harm the environment and what kind of businesses will actually help preserve it and help the community. But that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Anyone else for public hearing? Going once, going twice. Public hearing is closed. Members of the council? Yes, sir.
As I stated at the last meeting, the reason I brought this forward was to make sure that all of our parks, and this is a preserve, this isn't a park. It's on the deed and in everything we've passed as a preserve. But we can't allow private businesses to do business on city property without city permission, without insurance, without contracts. Any city park that we have, any city facility, if we don't have a rule that restricts it, theoretically, for instance, somebody can show up at the North Miami football stadium and start running a Pee-wee league for profit. I appreciate greatly what you're saying about preserving the environment. That is a wonderful thing. But once you start charging admission and calling it a park, it's no longer about you preserving, it's about you profiting. I would be willing to meet you halfway, and I'm not going to do it tonight, if you ever were to come and say, you know what, let's have discussions about us doing this for free. Those are wonderful young people you show on the kayaks. But let's not be fooled. Each of them paid you, I think it's $75 per your website. This isn't about preservation for you, it's about profit. This, though, is about every park in the city. This, however, is a preserve. I'll say one last thing on the item of the preserve. As soon as we turn this into a park with commercial usage, the city will have totally cut off its own legs in what has been a protracted battle against Florida International University to open up that road from 135th Street and Biscayne all the way straight to their university. We have fought tooth and nail to keep that area a beautiful place where people can walk and have a good time. Only by the grace of God have we managed to keep FIU from getting permission to open up that street. And obviously, if they opened it up into a 4-lane street going straight on back, not only would you not be able to have a business, but everybody's property values in that area would plummet. It's important that we keep a preserve, because adding commercial businesses to something is not, it absolutely will play right into FIU's hands. So I ask the council to support this evening. Again, it's not about them and their business. It's about making sure all of our parks are able to be free of commercial usage that the city has no knowledge of.
Thank you, Councilman. Any other council members have any other comments?
Excuse me. Am I allowed
Excuse me,
to comment?
No, ma'am. No, you
Okay.
can't. I'm sorry.
asking.
Yeah, it's only the council. Council member, any comments, anything? Vice
So-
Mayor? Go ahead.
So I will be supporting this ordinance, but I just have a question in regards to the business owners. Is there, and I agree with us just, the city just knowing who's at the parks and having the proper permission to be there. So what could we do? What licensing could we do? What restrictions or whatever that we do? The liability that you talked about, Councilman Galvin. Is there, I know we can't do it tonight, but is there a conversation that we can have about making sure that?
Yeah, I mean, again, this is frustrating for me because, one, I kayak, and I go to, there's parks all over this county where you can go kayaking, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I could never take a truck with 30 kayaks to Black Point Park and then start charging people in Blackstone Park.
I understand.
It's just, you couldn't do it. You couldn't do it in any other municipality. And I've had conversations with the attorney, and they're trying to explain to me, this is no different than you going to someone who has a house on the water and saying, hey, I'm just pulling up into your yard
I get
and
it.
putting
I get
boats
it.
in the
No,
water.
and I'm
Mr.
in
Rowland
agreement.
lives on
putting
the
boats in
water.
the water, but I'm not using your land. I mean, you are
Right.
still coming on city-owned property
And
and
that's
conducting a
fine.
business, and that's all this is preventing. And we're being
So,
told
no,
that
no,
we're
no,
trying to
I'm saying,
kill the
set aside
environment. I
from
mean,
this, all I'm asking is, you know, what could we do since they have been, for example, this business has been there. Let legalize it.
We would have
Not with this
the city-
ordinance, I know
if-
this is
if the-
different.
If the
I'm just
council
saying.
decides that you want this type of business, and again, there's nothing wrong with the business, we would need to find a location, put out an RFP, and decide where we want
Leader
people to
Park.
do this, and then do it. So nothing about this prevents us from doing it. You just have to do it with city permission. That's
Yeah,
all it is,
that's all.
and a location that the city agrees to.
Mr. Mayor?
Yeah, excuse me, I'm sorry, 1 second. Yes, sir, go
Mr. Attorney,
ahead.
if I can, I remember at the last council meeting when this item came up, you mentioned like the cafe at the library. The city has a franchise agreement
franchise.
with the business to operate there, and there's maybe some revenue sharing and so forth,
Yeah.
and whatever
And
the
it's
case.
put out to bid.
And it was
Yeah,
put out
put out
to
a bid.
bid. I think, you know, moving forward, if we want to come back with the policy to say, hey, you know, if we want to create revenue generating commercial business use at some of our parks, you know, you put out an open RFP and people get to respond and make the process fair. Because I did have, like I said, I mentioned it to the young lady that I did have conversation with the parks to see what can we do, like a fun adventure to one of the islands that the city now owns, and, you know, kind of making it fun where kids can do a treasure, like just something to say, hey, there's something to do at Bayshore Park, and you're, you know, kayaking or you're boating to the city's private island, right? But that, I was told that it has to be a process, and, you know, we have to put it out, and maybe not just one park, but several parks. But I think is a discussion that, you know, we would have to have with staff, and, you know, if we want to put it
And
out,
I
we
think
put it out.
we said we were open to have those type of discussion, and I don't think this resolution was about that. I thought we were done with this resolution from last time, because we had some other issues, because the resolution was very clear. Yes, Mr. Attorney, go ahead.
Yeah. Mr. Mayor, if you read the ordinance in front of you, what it says is franchise agreement or license. So we are, by virtue of the letter addressed to the
doing
interim
that
city
tonight.
manager that I just distributed to
we're not
all of
doing
you.
that tonight. That's
Okay.
what you were.
I'm asking, I believe that you are going to
Okay, not
pass the
tonight.
ordinance tonight.
You are
What
asking,
I'm asking
let me
you
ask
to
you,
do.
Frank, Mr. Mayor, former Mayor, you are asking the manager for permission from us, or you are asking us, the council?
Well, the
Because the letter
council-
was addressing to the manager, so.
Mayor, the
Yes, sir.
council always decides everything.
I know,
okay?
but it was addressed to her.
communications to the city go through the manager.
Oh, okay, well,
You know, that's the proper way.
She will bring it to us
Right.
whenever she feels like it.
What I want to do is make you aware, because Councilwoman Estime said, is there a way that we can, you know, put limitations on and allow them to continue what they're doing?
Not at that
Right,
part.
not
that we talk
to-
about. Yeah, we know.
not tonight, okay?
Yes, and not at
Well,
not at that park.
That's where you, all of you,
Yes.
get to decide and vote. Because it may be that you and Councilman Galvin think that that park is sacrosanct.
Preserved.
And that no one should, well, Councilman Galvin, there are preserves all
Okay,
over the
Frank,
state.
Public
okay,
hearing has been
okay,
It's okay,
okay,
listen.
okay,
There
I
are
think-
preserves all over the state where you
Okay,
can rent a kayak.
Okay, Mr. Former Mayor, okay, I think we good. I think we're ready for the
We
item.
want to, excuse me,
second.
we
Thank
want
you.
to
I'll
have,
second
we
the
want to have
motion to
field
approve.
trips. We want this to be a school field trip site. We want to help the
Frank,
kids in North Miami
Mr. Rowland, we
appreciate the
done.
environment.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Call to question, Madam Clerk.
I think I heard Councilwoman Estime Irvin move it, so
Yes, I did.
Second.
I'll second it.
Okay.
Oh.
Go ahead, you can
I have a
second.
motion made by Vice Mayor Estime Irvin to approve the item at tab J. The motion was seconded by Councilman Galvin. Vice Mayor Estime Irvin, how do you vote?
Yes.
Councilman Charles, how do you vote?
Yes.
Councilwoman Timothy, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mayor Desame, how do you vote?
Yes.
Councilman Galvin, how do you vote?
Yes.
Motion carries with a 5-0 vote.
Thank you. And now, public citizen forum, open. We have 2 mics.
I'll speak at Citizens Forum.
I did
Thank you for giving me that opportunity. I would like to invite any member sitting up there on the council to ask staff at the next city council meeting to entertain discussion of whether these young people should get a license to operate their business in the city of North Miami, after having been invited to do so and spending their life's earnings to rent a place and get a license, which they did. And tonight you've passed a law directed to one business, these people. So I'm inviting you all, any one of you, between now and next Thursday from now, to put it on the agenda. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. How you doing?
We have peace tonight?
Amen. We do.
Mayor, members of the council, Kenneth Each, 13045 Emerald Drive. First of all, let me congratulate you all on the excellent choice that you made tonight for our next city manager. I had the honor and the privilege of working with her on the CRA, and frankly, I got to tell you, she saved that CRA. She turned that around, and it's, Councilman, as you well know, we were in trouble there, and boy, we're lucky to get her back here, and I really want to compliment you all on a wise, wise choice. I came over tonight to speak about one and only Larry Jariga. You know, many years ago, I had the wisdom when I was your chief of police, probably the smartest chief of police, to hire him. And he ended up to be one great individual. I got to tell you, you know, 29 years he's been on the job. I had the honor and the privilege of working with his father, who was one of the most honorable men I've ever met. And he gave us a beautiful son called Larry. Larry started with the city in the Parks Department, and he worked very diligently, and one heck of a young man. You know, he followed in his father's footsteps. He's a credit to this noble profession. He's a leader in this noble profession. And he took this department when the morale was in the dumps and really turned it around. I look at all the innovative ideas that have come down the path. The mounted patrol, when we had our COVID, it was just so reassuring to see the police officers coming through our neighborhood and saying, yes, we're in trouble, but we're going to get over this. We're here to protect you. You can sleep well tonight. The North Miami Police is on the job. When I look at that innovative vehicle that he has out there to reach to our young people with all the superheroes, that's what it's about, reaching out to the people. Larry has been a true credit, like I said, to this noble profession. There have been 14 chiefs of police since Carl Angle when the North Miami Police started. I was number 6, Larry's number 14. And I can unequivocally say tonight, without a doubt, Larry has been the best chief of police that this city has ever had. And it certainly was an honor for me when I met him as a young man, and then when he went to the police academy to hire him and to see him succeed and to lead this beautiful department to its accreditation and to so many a vast different programs, the fishing program, the police athletic league, and so much. He's done so much. I'm going to have to give a speech at his retirement party, so I don't want to spill the beans tonight. But anyway, Larry, congratulations. Job well done. And it was an honor and a privilege, really, for me to know you and to hire you and to work alongside you. God bless you, son. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Thank you, Chief. Ma'am, yes.
I have 2 final remarks. First of all, congratulations, Larry. You seem very well loved. And second, a final remark regarding our licensing is the city permitted us a license, but the restriction is we can't use the license. So we're trying to figure our way around that, even if it doesn't mean at Arch Creek Preserve, but any other public waterway here in North Miami. Thank you.
Okay. What about, what they call it, what's that on 167th Street, the state park, the
I
Olita
think
Park.
that's for them to decide. I don't think it's fair for us to now open that can of
Yeah,
worms.
no,
and
no, I
have
know.
that
I'm not, this
There is
is,
a concession there.
Okay,
He's
we'll
already
talk.
approached them.
Oh,
and they
we'll
told
talk.
him, stay away, it's our
There's a
territory."
microphone.
no, I'm sorry?
There is a concession already there.
They have an
Mr.
agreement?
Jacobs already approached them
Yeah, it's a
to
city.
see if he
it's a-
could launch there.
But it's a city stuff, so we'll,
No,
isn't
It's
it a
the
city?
state park. They have
I
jurisdiction.
know, but isn't it in our city?
Yes, it's in the city of North
Yeah,
Miami.
so, but the state.
But I'm not going to go tell them they have to go get a concession from you because,
We don't know if they got
because the
one.
state of Florida park system trumps the city. So
We may have to go to
that's-
Tallahassee.
not a bad idea.
Okay, it's not a bad, okay, then we may have some work to do. Okay, thank you.
We're not here to go to Tallahassee for some of this business.
Yes, council reports. District 1, District 2, and then Vice Mayor.
Obviously,
and
there'll
then-
be a lot of opportunity to say thank you to the chief, but thank you, chief, right now. We've known each other since we were kids. We both started in the Parks Department in the late 80s, and it is, yeah. Yeah, I started in the Parks Department. Lucky I held on to that job for a brief moment in time. But Chief, you've been a great man and a great leader and a great friend. So though we'll all get to wish you farewell at a later point in better form, thank you for all that you've done. Go Dolphins.
All right. Just want to say to Anisha Daniels and Miguel Austin, thank you for serving in the interim capacity during this short transition. Welcome aboard, Rasha Camo and interim Chief Rivera. I got the memo today. And to our beloved Chief Larry Jerica, I'm going to take just a couple of moments. I can't begin to thank you enough for your leadership, your humility, your charisma, and your service to our city. For 29 years, you have served our North Miami community, and for the past 8 years, you've become a part of my family. From hanging out with my little Liam to assisting our residents on a daily basis, you truly have a heart of gold. What you brought to our city with community engagement, partnerships with the Dolphins POW, fishing with the kids, and all that has truly impacted our city for the good. When the police department looks like our city, speaks the languages of our city, so many officers were recruited right here in the city of North Miami, it shows. From being accredited twice and to lowering crime, Chief Jerica, thank you for making a positive impact. The North Miami Police Department, I know will continue ascending because we had you to lead. Thank you, Chief.
All right.
Awesome. Charles and then Vice Mayor.
Oh, my God, it's my turn. I just want to first say thank you to our interim city manager, Anisha Daniel. Thank you for your leadership and this transition. I knew it wasn't too long, but you did a very good job. And I just want to thank you for that. To our chief, Chief Jerica, and sometimes people call me out for being kind of biased when it comes to our police force. Your leadership is like a stamp in our city. Looking at you every day and your men and women in uniform help me out to have a different way of seeing policing. Growing up in Haiti, I had a fear of people in uniform and carrying firearms.
And you don't now?
With you, day by day, you just coming to show me that when you have that uniform and that firearm, you're not someone who's there to do bad, but to help out whenever needed. And for that, I thank you very much. Please keep it up. You will be missed, but I know you're not gonna be far. Thank you for your service, and thank you to the entire team of the best police department in the state of Florida, our North Miami Police. Thank you, Chief. To Rasha Camo, I just want to say welcome. welcome, and understand that you have a lot in front of you. And our city needs some stability. I would like to see, in your administration, that people wish to come in here to work, and then they don't even remember when it is 5 o'clock. I would love to see a culture change. A place that people want to come and work, and not with a fear that they don't even know what's going to happen tomorrow. Where we need to retrain, I hope you're going to do that. If we need to switch some position, I hope you're going to do that. But do it in a way that our city stay together. I wish you the best, and I know you're going to be at your best because I have worked with you before. Thank you for coming to our city, and our residents, they are all waiting for results, and I know that's what we're going to get from you. Thank you very much and welcome. And I just want to say thank you to the one and only one, Miguel, for stepping up, and our interim chief, welcome, and thank you. And I feel that we are moving in the right directions, and we need to keep it that way. And let's work together and make sure that our great city, North Miami, is the best throughout Miami-Dade County, in the state of Florida, and move up to the entire nation. Thank you, and have a good night.
Thank you, sir. Vice Mayor?
All right. Good evening, everyone. We're all talking about Chief. It's just because you've just been that great Chief. We just thank you for your leadership. We're going to miss you very much. And I'm not going to say, oh, it's going to be so hard to replace you, because I know you've done such a great job of pouring your leadership to your command staff. So I'm very proud of that, but you will be missed. I want to thank you again for your leadership in making sure that we were accredited again, and I'd like to read a letter from the Commission for Florida Law Enforcement Accreditation. So it says, Dear Chief Juriga, we are pleased to inform you that North Miami Police Department has met the required standard to become re-accredited by the Commission of Florida Law Enforcement Accreditation. You and your agency are to be commended for your continued diligence, professionalism, and commitment in maintaining the highest recognition among Florida's law enforcement community. We look forward to working with you and your agency and your continued pursuit of excellence. On behalf of the Commission, we extend our thanks and participation and congratulate you on a job well done. And it's just a repeated theme on a job well done. One of the things that the Commission mentioned is that they were so proud that we brought most of mayor and council was there representing and backing the police department. One of my most memorable time or experience is that during the moment for George Floyd, when it was so scary for a lot of other cities, I was very proud, and I didn't even flinch an eye, and I didn't even think that anything would happen in our city, because if there's a person that our resident respected and knew, that's our chief and the police department. The community policing that everybody was talking about, we've already done it. The peace officers, we had already done it, and it's through your leadership. Again, just really grateful for your leadership. I thank you for the time that you've given to the city. I thank you personally for my family. I thank you so much for that. And I know that you will do well. And enjoy your time. Enjoy your time. As we close Black History Month, I'd like to kind of recognize one of our own. He is a school board member, Steve Gallon III. If you hadn't had a chance to look at his story, and it wasn't a pretty story, but what I like about that story, that it wasn't pretty, survived and he made it through. So if you didn't have an opportunity to look at the film that talks about his life and his upbringing and the challenges that he had and how he overcame that. I recommend that you go and look at it, and I believe it's A Light Out of Darkness, the film is called. And we, mayor and council, recognized him, and I'm just so happy that we were, again, able to recognize one of our very own in Miami-Dade County. He actually represents most of the school district in the city of North Miami, Dr. Gallon III. And tonight, I'm not going to stay too long, but Saturday, March 4th, we have the Run No Me Run. I hope that if you're listening to the sound of my voice, even if you can't run, just come walk, jog, whatever you can do, just sign up. It's going to go for a good cause for the national, for the North Miami Educational Foundation. So I encourage you, you men in blue, please sign up. Please sign up and run with us, please. Thank you and have a good evening. And I yield the rest of my time.
Thank you, Madam Vice Mayor. Councilman, you needed 30 seconds. Go ahead.
Yes, thank you very much, Mayor. I think I would be remiss if I did not acknowledge the presence of my assistant. Finally, I have my assistant in here. She's here in the audience. SP Jules, would you please stand up so that they can see your face? So just stand up for a minute so that everybody can see your face. And when I say welcome to the great family of North Miami, and I know now I'm gonna look good because she got my back. Thank you.
Awesome. Well, all the accolades, Chief. I know we have some time. You know, you're not going anywhere. Like I said, not yet. Thank you. We do have the celebration, and I want to welcome everyone and thank everyone in terms of, Anisha for your service. Miguel, they were thinking, but they also didn't think. I guess the 8 years or 7 years of the city attorney's been there. They were joking about Jeff, but thank you everyone, and the staff in the back, the directors, in terms of doing what needs to be done for our residents. We are moving. We're about to get a little bit fast, if I shall say, but. Again, thank you. Any report, Madam Manager, Miguel, City Attorney, and Madam Clerk.
Thank you, Mayor. I'll go ahead and go. Just have a few things. First, welcome to Rasha. Congratulations. We look forward to working with you. I have a few words. Congratulations to the chief as well. What a great man, a great listener, a great empathetic person. Just to have a person with his stature.
Yes.
You would not expect to see such a humble individual. So I just want to thank you for being a leader and just for being a community policer. I've told you numerous times that you definitely need to share the knowledge, because there are so many police forces out there that can definitely take advice from him. A couple of things. On the recognition and the accreditation, they had no waivers. They had no exemptions, no corrective actions. So it is not just that they actually got the accreditation, because there were others that received their accreditation, but they stood there and had waivers. We had nothing. We were flawless. And that is because of our leader and the command staff that lead behind him. Thank you to Parks, Communications, Police, and all of the volunteers for NOMI Fest. Thank you to our Black History Committee for the many events that they hosted during the month of Black History Month. And last but not least, I have some great news. After many, many years, our mayor has been trying to get a bus for his seniors, and we've actually been able to secure a bus. A all-star 40-passenger ADA accessible bus. We have already decaled the bus, and we have a catchphrase that we've had plastered on the side of the bus that says, "Live your life
Pictures?
and forget your age." Actually, we do have pictures. I don't know if they have it.
Yeah.
But we have the website and phone number. So we are planning, Mayor, I want to get with you. I want to plan something for possibly next week where we
Ribbon
can
cutting.
do the ribbon cutting and your first ride with the seniors.
Yeah.
The first ride with the seniors. So we actually have your bus. And it is a beautiful bus.
I can't wait. Yes.
That concludes.
Mr. Attorney, we try to get out of here before 10 reports.
All right, Mayor, I don't usually talk, so I hope you'll indulge me.
Go ahead.
First, a piece of business is I do need an executive session. It's in the case City of North Miami versus Joan H. Winokur et al. It's the Blue Tarp House in Explorer Road. Local case 2021-023037-CA01. So hopefully we can have that, my staff contact.
The next meeting, or you want it before?
We'll contact, hopefully it's before the next meeting,
Before?
but
Okay.
whenever we can. It's not going to take long.
Okay.
The only other thing I'd say, and I'm a sailor, and sailors tell stories, but I'm going to try to keep this brief. You all know when I got here, shortly after I got here, we had a police involved shooting. We dealt with that. That was like within my first couple of weeks here at the city. Shortly after that, Chief Juriga became the police chief. We were doing something, I think it was the Clean City Task Force, and he said, hey, I'll take you to see some of these houses. So we went on a ride. We were on the west side somewhere, and there were a group of kids sitting on I didn't know Chief at all. I mean, I've heard of him, seen him around, didn't really know him well. So there were a bunch of kids sitting on a bunch of boys, black boys, sitting on a bench, and Chief pulls up, and I'm like, oh my God, what's about to happen? Because I grew up in New York City, man. When the police pulled up on you, it was not going to be a good thing. So I'm in the car. I'm like, what's going to happen here? I'm the city attorney. The chief is pulling up on these kids. He pulls up, walks up to them, and I just said, well, let me go see what the heck's going to happen here. So I go with him, and he walks up to him, and he says, and I'll never forget this. He says, you guys he said something like, you handsome guys have any girlfriends? And I said, what the hell's he doing? And they didn't know what the hell was going on either. And next thing I know, Chief pulls out like some coupons for, he pulls out some coupons for Subways. And he gives them all his coupons from Subways. And he said, hey, take your girlfriends out on a date. And all I could think to myself was, if the men that I grew up with had police officers like that, I wouldn't be the only one that came out of my neighborhood and became a lawyer. A lot of those guys would still be alive. A lot of those guys would not be in jail. So Chief, great job. Great job, and that's all I can say.
Thank you, Mr. Attorney. And I know, Madam Clerk, before you go and have a few words to say, and I mentioned that earlier, the quality of a person is not necessarily what they do or what they post on social media or what they say. It's truly what that person do that closed door or behind where nobody would get the recognition. And that's how I measure people, and that's the chief. And I say it all the time because the stuff that he does for our residents, that story you just mentioned, Jeff, resonate. I think all of us, the chief has, it doesn't matter of the age, little kids from older folks, from the homeless folks that needs a place to stay, somebody that needs to go to the hospital, you name it. It's just like, oh, call Chief Juriga. He's just like have the answer to whatever that you may name the problem. This is it, and it's not something that we do when we publish it, but it's really do it in private. No matter what it is, the chief will take care of it and make sure that the light bill stays on. That's the heart of that person. I mentioned it to the chief. That's a quality that you can't have it. It's either you have it or you don't. It's not a transferable type of quality. We just lucky we have had a person with that type of skill or a person. Madam Clerk, I'm sorry, your time.
No worries. Shout outs to the Black History Month Committee. If you haven't already done so, please go ahead and purchase one of our shirts designed by yours truly. Black History Month is over, but just because the actual month is over, it does not mean we will not be celebrating for the rest of the year. And we celebrate Black History 365. We stop at red lights because of a Black person. Light bulbs stay lit like us as long as they do because of a Black person. The phone that we use to talk to people from anywhere, anytime, is because of Black people. And so throughout history, we know that there are just so many inventions that Black people are responsible for. And even though some of them couldn't get credit because of the way patent laws were around the time that Black people were enslaved, they weren't able to benefit from their creativity. And so that brings me to the theme of Black resistance, which is this year's theme. And it's a concept that can mean different things for different people. And what it might mean for you could be completely different from what it means to me, but here's what I see. You know, when I think of Black resistance, I think about the daily incidents that perpetuate the inequities of our society, and Black people have had to resist that. And, oh, sorry, I thought you were talking. And they've had to resist that through various forms of innovation and through collective action. And because of that resistance, we have made America a much better place. It is a great country because of the fight, the collective action of Black people. And so I just encourage us to continue to learn about our history, to learn the history of Black people, and to not stop here, but to persist and to continue to resist. Chief Jerica, there's really no need for me to repeat everything that has been said. And it's without a doubt that you're so great, and you're great to so many people, and we can all agree on that. But you're great not because of your kindness to every single person that you meet, regardless of where they come from, where they are, who they are, what they do. You're not great because you're everywhere all the time and you're present even when you don't have to be. You're not great just because you taught me how to fish. Your greatness comes from the fact that you're really intentional about building relationships that allow your department to build trust with the community, and that's led to significant improvements across the board. And it's the fact that you stay true, you are authentic, you're consistent. You never, ever miss an opportunity to empower others. You remain humble, even though you have so much to be celebrated for. And you're great because you show up. You've shown up for me in my toughest moments. You've shown up for the community, even in times when we needed to show up for you. And you show up for your officers in the moment that they need you. And if I didn't know that before, today I saw it. Today I saw it with my own eyes, and I pray that I could be even half the leader that you are. I thank you from the bottom of my heart because you've been one of the greatest experiences, parts of this experience for me. And for that, I really have to thank you. Thank you so much to Anisha, our interim city manager, and Miguel Augustin. And of course, welcome back to our new city manager, Rasha Kamo. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Miguel. You got 2 seconds. I'm messing with you. Go ahead.
I just want to say, sorry. I just want to say thank you to Ms. Anisha Daniel for affording me the opportunity to serve in this capacity. I'm all about public service, doing what I can, letting my skills, my talents, to do what I can to help not just the city, but the citizens and everyone to progress. I also like to thank the fellow directors for their support as well. You know, it's a it's been a short transition, but I really appreciate the cooperation and really the support that I received from them. So, and as well as the council, thank you for affording me this trust as well. So I don't take it for granted. Appreciate it. Thank you all.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Right.
Go ahead.
And we would want to say, motion to adjourn, but before that, I want to just say happy birthday to Councilwoman Cassandra Timothy, and also to the representative of the constituent aide of District 3, Patricia Livassor.
Yes.
Happy birthday.
Patricia, wherever you are.
Hand to Chief.
Yeah, between them.
I have a
Move to
motion
adjourn.
made- Okay, I have a motion made by
Second.
Councilman Galvin to adjourn, seconded by Councilman Charles. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries with a 5-0 vote. It is now 10:03 p.m. Have a good night.